Monterrey, how's the summer shaping up?
It doesn't really sound rough to me.
Dave Murray's exclusive summer forecast.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Some morning sunshine, then increasing clouds this afternoon. Our high today, 69.
Not the game 2 of the series against the Pirates the Cardinals were hoping for. We'll have highlights for you coming up in sports at 6:15 and in CBS News. Ebola restrictions prompt a flight to
the trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. An Air France flight bound for the U.S. made an unintended pit stop over fears a passenger had been exposed to Ebola in Africa. Correspondent Jared Hill.
All we know is that this person was from the Democratic Republic of Congo and was on this diverted flight going from Paris to Detroit. The plane ended up landing in Montreal. The person was taken off the back of the plane, and then it went back onto its original destination, which was Detroit.
Potential danger? CBS News medical correspondent Dr. Celine Gounder.
Based on what we know, there is no indication this passenger was sick. And that matters because Ebola only spreads through direct contact with the body fluids of someone who is showing symptoms.
Crews at New York's LaGuardia Airport have been out all night working on a sinkhole that shut down a runway, triggering delays and cancellations. That runway isn't expected to be open until around noon Eastern. No word yet on the cause of the giant pothole. CBS New York's Elijah Westbrook is at the airport.
Sources tell CBS News investigators are exploring multiple possibilities, including, get this, whether a fuel line tunneling project may have played a role.
Washington, D.C. police officer Daniel Hodges, on duty January 6th, is suing to try to block the Justice Department's $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund, paid for with taxpayer dollars. Could award money to rioters.
So many of them pled guilty in a court of law, and they had very fair trials. I was there. I testified in them. I was there at sentencing. There was no conspiracy. There was no political railroading.
Former officer Harry Dunn, also part of the suit. Both officers were injured in the riots. The owner of a Minnesota daycare has been indicted over suspected fraud.
Federal prosecutors say Fahima Mahmoud lied about feeding 60,000 children a month at her daycare and received $4 million from Minnesota's Child Care Assistance Program.
Here at Future Leaders Early Learning Center,
Mahmoud's daycare was one of 10 the conservative YouTuber Nick Shirley featured in a viral video in December.
Are there children here today?
No.
No children?
Yes.
Why are there no children?
Prosecutors say Mahmoud tried to flee the country in February, 2 days after she shut her daycare down. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Quitting smoking's been shown to have a wide array of benefits. Here's another.
Now, a study published in the journal Neurology shows kicking the habit may also lower the risk of dementia by 16%. But researchers found that only extends to people who avoided major weight gain after quitting. People who put on at least 22 pounds did not experience a reduced risk.
CBS's Christian Benavidez. This is CBS News.
I want to know what's going on in the world.
I'm Tony.
There are big questions that all of us are asking. I want to get you the answers.
How are you?
I'm Tony DeCopel. Join me on the CBS Evening News.
It is 6:03. And right now in downtown St. Louis, it's partly cloudy, 54 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Brian Fedlman. St. Louis County is on the verge of running out of money to pay the jail's health care staff. According to Health Director Dr. Kanika Cunningham, the council has until June 30th to appropriate the funds, or else the staff will walk out, putting detainees' well-being at risk and putting the county in violation of the law.
Cunningham says for weeks, a bill needing only one final vote from the county council to allocate those funds has been sitting on the sidelines. She says she doesn't know why.
There was a committee of the whole in which the budget discussion was going to discuss the correction medicine budget. Unfortunately, I was not invited to that meeting. I had staff that was subpoenaed, and the council decided to go in closed session. Since they went into closed session and reopened, we still have not heard any movement on this bill. There has not been any communication.
Councilman Dennis Hancock says Dr. Kanika Cunningham needs to come in and testify about why they need the $2.8 million for the jail's medical staff. He says they have a hard time taking her word without that word coming under oath.
Dr. Cunningham has a track record of not being completely honest with the council in the past on several different issues. So just to say, trust me on this, on $3 million of the taxpayer dollars, is something I'm not interested in doing.
Hancock says it wasn't a mistake cutting this money from the budget, adding their budget process was thoughtful and deliberate to reduce impact.
Water rates could gush sky high under a plan being introduced to St. Louis City aldermen today. It would raise water rates by 18% this year and 18% next year, followed by increases of about 6% a year through 2032.
Deputy Water Commissioner Spencer Gould says they've got to do the price hike now because the water department bank accounts will run dry by year's end. He says while the water service has been given funding from, for instance, pandemic relief dollars, those capital funds cannot bridge the department's yearly deficit.
These one-time expenditures are great lifelines for us and help us stay solvent in the short term. But when we're talking long term, the challenge of any utility is charging the true costs of what it takes to make the water.
Google is building a $15 billion data center in rural Missouri. Michael Calhoun has the details.
The site is in New Florence, about 70 miles west of St. Louis. You'll pass it if you're headed along 70 to Mizzou. It's going to be one of the company's largest investments in the state, with thousands of construction jobs during the build and hundreds of permanent positions on the way. Google also committed to paying 100% of the project's power and infrastructure costs and plans to fund programs to help reduce energy bills for nearby residents.
Missouri's Attorney General going after a major Bitcoin ATM operator, calling the kiosks, quote, the new getaway cars for fraud. Catherine Hanaway filed suit against CoinFlip, which runs more than 140 of the machines in Missouri gas stations, convenience stores, and vape shops. Hanaway says the company knows it enables fraudulent transactions and profits from them through excessive fees. She's asking a court to ban CoinFlip from operating in Missouri. The Fed say fraud losses at crypto ATMs have surged nearly tenfold in recent years.
Bayer Crop Science, the Creve Coeur-based ag giant, is changing the rules of its loyalty program after pressure from the U.S. Department of Justice. Federal antitrust investigators say Bayer was effectively forcing independent seed companies to push both its corn and soybean products in order to qualify for discounts, a practice the government calls illegal tying. Bayer is also dropping incentives that made it harder for seed companies to work with Bayer's competitors.
The Justice Department says the changes will benefit American farmers and consumers. Bayer agrees to keep the new policies in place for 7 years.
It is 6:07 and the Cardinals are leaning all the way into tarps off. The team says the upper right field bleachers at Busch Stadium are now a dedicated high-energy fan section, shirts optional. And during last night's game, you could hear the high energy. It almost sounded like soccer match supporter section.
Oh, it did. Take a listen to this chanting in the background of John Rooney on KMOX.
J.J. Weatherholt. Mason Wynn is back at short tonight, playing up the middle. Cesar Prieto started out at shortstop last night. He's playing third base, playing off the line.
Good. This almost sounds like a soccer match in some ways, which is pretty cool. The movement started last Friday when the Stephen F. Austin club baseball team was in town for the National Club Baseball World Series in Alton. They packed the bleachers and waved their shirts like rally towels. Cardinals hosted them for a clubhouse visit and a ceremonial first pitch this week. Ballparks in Detroit, Philadelphia, and Tampa Bay reportedly catching on as well.
From the KMOX business desk, the old Cleveland High School in Dutchtown has been sitting vacant for almost 20 years, and it shows. It's now owned by the city's Land Clearance for Redevelopment Authority after a number of redevelopment efforts stalled. The city has issued a request for bids for stabilization work that includes roof repairs, boarding up windows and doors, and hauling off debris. Cleveland High School was built in 1915. It closed in 2006.
We will check traffic and weather next. It's 6:08.
Insurance companies often have a basic strategy: delay, deny, defend. Some try to grind you down, but they have another tremendous weapon: a software called Colossus. They know which attorneys are great and which are not so great. They know who's likely to take the last offer and who will take them by their scalp, kicking and screaming to trial. They know that they have to pay some firms early and fairly. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. The insurance companies have done their homework. Before you hire a lawyer for your injury case, do yours. Visit forthepeople.com and see our settlements and verdicts for cases like yours. We became the largest injury firm in the world for a reason. When you hire the wrong firm, you may be beat before you start. All law firms are not the same. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's ruffgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's ruffgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is now 6:10. Thanks for tuning in to Total Information AM on this beautiful Thursday morning. I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Brian Fedlman, and we've got Roger Brand, who's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, no complaints out there right now, Debbie. On the highways, everything's looking good. 55 coming up through Festus and approaching the Merrimack River and Arnold. It shouldn't be any issue any longer. North of Bayless, headed across the river to Pear. They reopened and restriped all those lanes yesterday afternoon, so I think all that road work is pretty well wrapped up. I mean, they may have little projects here or there, but the bulk of the restrictions are gone, so a good run that should be had there once you get past 270 on northbound 55, so that's good news for a lot of folks, I'm sure. And then the rest of the work zones, 270 at Ladue both ways, 64 through 159 Fairview Heights. Everything's on the move for you there as well. Next update is 620 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Some sunshine today will fade down increasing clouds, high 69. Mostly cloudy tonight, low 59. Mostly cloudy tomorrow, a shower or two, high 69. Clouds and peaks of sun Saturday and warmer, but there may be an afternoon thunderstorm, high 81. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, we have partly cloudy skies and 55 degrees downtown at the Arch. The Cardinals go down 7-0 to the Pirates. Not Michael McGreevy's best day, but they still had a chance to win. Highlights coming up at 6:15.
It is now 6:12, and federal prosecutors say a Florissant man used a phantom shipment scheme to rip off a grocery chain for more than $250,000. 39-year-old Richard Lind, arrested yesterday, pleaded not guilty to wire fraud. The indictment claims Lind, who worked at the grocer's distribution center, generated fake payment authorization codes for unloading trailers that never actually arrived. Prosecutors say he then took those electronic codes to truck stops to cash out, triggering more than 600 fraudulent payments.
Who's to blame for the St. Louis mail crisis?
Congressman Wesley Bell is pinning the St. Louis mail situation on Postal Service management and defending the rank-and-file letter carriers. He took a question at a telephone town hall from a constituent who told him the carriers want to work overtime to help clear the backlog, but management won't let them.
Let me be clear about this. This is about the management and direction of the post office, and we have to make sure that we address the issues, find where the holes are, fix those holes, reform this system, and make sure that it works for the people who need it most.
Our region's been dealing with delayed mail, stolen checks, and dumped letters. The FBI's opened an investigation. Bell says he's introduced legislation with Ann Wagner requiring the Postmaster General to report St. Louis delivery numbers directly to Congress. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The mayor of Festus and 3 Festus city council members face a potential recall. Is the recall petition valid?
Attorney Chuck Hatfield has sent a letter to the Jefferson County clerk asking she not validate the petition due to a lack of proper reason to recall his clients, the mayor and council members.
The recall petition has to identify specific acts of misconduct or specific failures to perform. This one doesn't do that. These citizens disagree with my clients about their decision on data centers.
However, Jackson County Clerk Jeannie Goff says it's not up to her to decide if the recall's reasoning is valid, adding her only job is to count the signatures. Hatfield's letter also asks her to be thorough in her signature verification. She says the voter database allows for that.
We use our regular voter registration database that has a petition module in there for petition management. And what we are able to do is then pull up the actual registered voter's name.
Goff adds her and her staff have canceled Memorial Day weekend plans to ensure this task is completed by the 10-day deadline. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Mizzou football running back Ahmad Hardy's out of the hospital and back in Columbia nearly 2 weeks after he was shot following a concert in Mississippi. Hardy delivered the update himself.
Hey everyone, I'm back in Columbia. Starting the road to my rehab.
Hardy was shot May 10th, underwent surgery in Mississippi, and then transferred to a Missouri hospital. Head coach Eli Drinkwitz says the team still weeks from knowing any timeline for Hardy's return to football activity. Good morning, I'm Brian Feldman filling in for Tom Ackerman. After a special night Tuesday in Game 1 against the Pirates, the Cardinals just unable to carry that magic over to Game 2. The Redbirds blanked by Pittsburgh at Busch last night, 7-0. The trouble for Michael McGreevy started in the second, facing Spencer Horwitz with no one on base.
The 2-1 pitch, and that is hit deep down the right field line toward the corner, and the ball is out of here for a home run for Horwitz. Horwitz is 2 for 2 in this series, 1-0 Pirates, as that ball just cleared the wall in the right field corner.
John Rooney, the call right here on KMOX. McGreevy trying to keep the Cards in it despite not having his best command.
The pitch, a swing and a miss. Herrera picks up the ball. First base is occupied, and Rodriguez is out. The first strikeout for McGreevy.
He goes 5 innings, gives up 3 runs on 10 hits. Not his best, but good enough to keep the Cardinals in it. They just, need some offense. Best chance for the Cardinals comes in the 6th. Bases loaded, 2 down for Cesar Prieto.
From the stretch, the pitch on the way. A swing, and there's a drive to right field. Mangum moves back. He's at the wall, and he makes the catch. Sliding and making the play. So the Cardinals leave the bases loaded.
Oh, man, that had given the Cardinals the lead. Instead, nothing. From there, the Pirates get to the Cards bullpen and put this one out of reach.
The runner goes for second. The pitch is swung on line down the left field line. That's a fair ball headed toward the corner. It's cut off by Fermin. The throw gets past the cutoff man, and another run's going to score. 2 runs cross the plate on the double by Brian Reynolds. 7-0 Pittsburgh.
And that's how it ends. 7-0 the final after the game. Michael McGreevy on his start.
Kind of shoot myself in the foot, just getting behind the guys. Thought I bared down when I needed to, and not upset with a couple of the blooper infield singles that happened today. Don't think 10 hits tells the whole story, but still I can't be falling behind and be 58% strikes all day.
Game 3 to decide the series, a day game at Busch. 12:15 first pitch right here on KMOX. Dustin May takes the ball for St. Louis. In the NBA, the Thunder over the Spurs, 122-113 in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. That evens up the series at a game apiece. Game 3 Friday. Game 2 of Knicks Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference Finals. That's tonight. New York took Game 1 on Tuesday. Your Redbird Report sponsored by Restoration One of Greater St. Louis. With reports at 15 and 45 past the hour, I'm Brian Feldman on your home for St. Louis Cardinals baseball, KMOX.
Ready or not, summer is coming, and Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance is on now. Right now through May 25th, get up to 70% off everything home at Wayfair. Plus, score amazing doorbuster deals all sale long and surprise flash deals on Memorial Day. We're talking thousands of products at every style and budget. Now is the time to save big on must-haves for your patio, backyard, and beyond. These savings won't last, so don't wait. Shop Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance now through May 25th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolade spells powerful relief. Reach label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
I'm Dr. Colleen Bosler with the Audiology Center, and I'm talking with my associate, Dr. Adam Voss. What happens to a person's brain when they ignore their hearing loss?
There is such a strong connection between the ear and the brain. Ignoring your hearing loss can cause the brain to become lazy and the speech areas in the brain to shrink. This is partially why you can hear the words, but you cannot understand them. If a hearing loss goes untreated for too long, it may cause an irreversible change in the brain. It is incredibly important to have your hearing screened at 60 or older, or sooner if you're noticing difficulty. And the sooner someone treats their hearing loss, the better and quicker their brain will adapt to hearing sound again. Studies show that those who get hearing aids, even with a mild hearing loss, are much more successful hearing aid users as compared to those that wait longer.
So call us today to get your comprehensive hearing evaluation with one of our doctors. 636-441-7470 or visit us online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 6:20. This is Total Information AM. Debbie Monterrey, Brian Fedlman, and Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're still looking good out there, Debbie. Just a couple of slowdowns as we add a little more folks into the mix on the highways. There's a little bit of a slowdown right now, northbound 55, approaching the Church Road overpass through 141 up to the Merrimack in that work zone. But like I said, yesterday they restriped and reopened all the lanes 55 north of Bayless, so we should have a good run headed up through the city now, through that area. That ramp are reopened from Germania as well. The only other place I'm seeing a little bit of a delay is southbound 61 starting to bog down just a bit. Wentzville Parkway down to 64, but once you hit 64 or 70, they're both wide open coming out of Wentzville across the Missouri River Bridges. 270 both directions through the work zone at Ladue looks good. 64 through 159 in Fairview Heights and around 157. I'm not seeing any delays. The bridges downtown look good. Starting to see a little bit of a delay, a backup on 203 at Ohio there, right near Gateway National Golf Club or Worldwide Technology Raceway into that construction zone. However, next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
Meteorologist Joe Lundberg says we may see a little bit of sun today. Not a lot, but a little bit, followed by some increasing clouds later in the day. High of 69 degrees. Tonight, mostly cloudy, low of 59. Tomorrow, possible shower, but mostly cloudy, high of 69. And then your Memorial Day weekend could get a little bit wet. Clouds, breaks of sun becoming warmer with a stray afternoon thunderstorm on Saturday. That's a high of 81. Sunday, mostly cloudy, a thunderstorm in certain places throughout the region, high of 78. And then on Memorial Day, mostly cloudy, humid, but a thunderstorm around, especially in the afternoon, high of 80 degrees. Right now, we have cloudy skies and 55 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It is 6:22 and the news continues. Legendary St. Louis meteorologist Dave Murray out with his quarterly seasonal forecast that you hear exclusively on KMOX. His read on June, July, and August comes down to a tug of war. On the one side, a bubble of hot, dry air parked over Texas and the Southwest. On the other, a flow coming in from the Northwest that's gripped the region all spring and won't let go.
How that battle resolves over the next 3 months, Dave says, decides almost everything. Temperature, storms, and whether the region sees any kind of drought. He starts the big forecast with June.
Temperatures by the end of the month with the bounce around should average out to be just about average to slightly above. Pretty bearable month. June is also a month when thunderstorms typically really rock and roll. In my book, it's the wettest month of the year, mainly due to thunderstorms. And I do think June storms will be active with that northwest flow, thinking 4 to 6 strong to severe weather events. That's above average. All-day rains never happen in June. I think rainfall for the month will be above to possibly well above average, so no drought concerns this June, but flooding, flash flooding will be a concern in the thunderstorm pattern.
Historically, June in St. Louis has an average high near 86 and a low near 67. But Murray says expect volatility. Some days may hit those numbers, some will run well above, and a few chilly days mixed in. That same swing carries into July when the average temp should climb to around 90.
July, typically the core of the summer heat and humidity for the St. Louis area, but my thinking this July, not so fast, my friend. It will continue to be the battle between that intense surge from the southwest, hot and a dry and very dry, bone dry flow. And the summer break, I think the northwest flow is going to continue in July. So the key, the heat and dryness from the southwest does not take solid control. In fact, I'm thinking attacks will be rather limited. The northwest flow having the bulk of the weather muscle, but there's going to be battles in the air masses. Yes, it will be hot and at times very humid. It's July. Can't get away from that. But the northwest flow is going to keep this July from becoming a true summer beast. As a result, temperatures when looking at the entire month will be about average for the middle of summer. So it's not too hot. At least it's not anything that we can't handle. Yes, I think it will be the hottest month of the summer, but in the acceptable range.
On rainfall, Murray sees another wet month in July with 3 to 4 severe weather events. Then comes August, which in a typical St. Louis summer is the dry, hot tail end of the season.
Average high, 88. Average low, 69. The bouncy temperature pattern continues in August. Overall, this is looking like a very bearable summer month for temperatures. The intense summer heat from the south-southwest will remain locked in place as a rare northwest flow, rare for summertime, will make a few August visits. No record highs, no record lows. Temperatures, when we add up the numbers, will be below, maybe well below average for August, but we do have to watch those little surges from the southwest. Rainfall, typically a very dry month. Never really want to fight that idea, but drought is not a concern for August like the bulk of the summer months. The storm track is going to remain active with the northwest flow.
So bottom line, what does Dave Murray think of this summer forecast for St. Louis?
It doesn't really sound rough to me.
Good enough for me. You can hear Dave each day at 3:30 on the Dave Glover Show, as well as the afternoon hourly news on KMOX.
As Route 66 celebrates its 100th anniversary, many Americans had planned to take a road trip this summer, but Patrick DeHaan with Gas Buddy says as gas prices continue to rise, those numbers go down.
69% of Americans hit the road last summer. That was one of the highest numbers we've ever recorded, but that dropped to 56% this year amidst gas prices that have surged across the country. The national average now $1.48 a gallon higher than where it was a year ago.
DeHaan says their survey shows 83% of Americans are using apps to find the lowest gas prices and willing to drive a few miles out of their way to get it.
Purina Cares Day is today. It's the 25th year of the day of service. Food is distributed to local families and pets in need.
Kim Beardsley is Director of Community Affairs with Purina.
You know, every year it seems like our region is facing difficulties. This year, food prices have gone up. And, we know that at least 1 in 5 households experiences food insecurity. So this is a really important part of the event each year. We're able to feed over 300 families and their pets through this event. And it's just 2 hours of giving out food to people and pets.
This is at Energizer Park. People will be given a week's worth of food and also free dog and cat food. That's going on between 9 and 11.
At 6:27, that time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing. Your weather forecast and a check on the roadways with Roger Brand up next on Total Information AM.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Of McKelvey Homes, Jim Brennan, for years, and McKelvey Homes gives back to the St. Louis community. They do this for every home that they sell. 1898, the year they were founded, $1,898 goes to a nonprofit every time they sell a home. McKelvey's known for quality and for taking care of you every step of the way. And for Jim, quality means experience and choice. You make the calls, they'll build a home that you'll love. Strawberry Farms, open in O'Fallon, east of Highway K on Mexico Road. You're going to love Strawberry Farms. Live with walking trails, a lake, wooded lots, a playground. The display is now open at Strawberry Farms. Stop by for a tour. Ask about great spring incentives and how to get up to $48,000 in savings. McKelveyHomes.com. Move up to McKelvey.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Giddy up! It's the Cardinal Cowboy. Is your garage door past its prime? Get a free repair or replacement quote from Renner Garage Door. Renner is America's oldest family-owned garage door company that serves both wholesale and retail markets. Right now, get $100 off a new garage door when you mention this ad. With trusted brands like Delden, Amar, LiftMaster, you know it's built to win. Renner's also hiring experienced techs and installers. RennerDoorSTL.com. Forward and back.
RENNER, RENNER.
It is now 6:30 and it's sunny and 53 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey. And yes, I did say sunny. Take a look at that forecast in just a moment. But first, let's check in with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, seeing our usual slowdowns for 55 drivers, Debbie. Northbound 55 north of Richardson headed up to the Merrimack River, and then the right lanes are slow, Butler Hill up to 270. But once you get past that point, there are no delays. North of Bayless headed up into the city. They wrapped up pretty much, as far as I can tell, they wrapped up everything. They had restriped the lanes yesterday afternoon. We had a jam yesterday afternoon like we do during the mornings, but restriped all those lanes on northbound 55 up into the city and reopened that ramp at Germania as well. So traffic looks good once you get past 270 on northbound 55. North 270 is just kind of slow. North of Doherty Ferry up to Manchester and a little busy right as you get through 64 entering that work zone at Ladue. Southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway down to 64. That's a little heavy, but like I said earlier, once you get on to 64 or 70, it's not bad. 64 is a little slow approaching Lake St. Louis Boulevard. There's a little slowdown now as well on the Illinois side, westbound 64 through 159. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Meteorologist Joe Lundberg says we may see a little bit of sun today, followed by increasing clouds, high of 69 degrees. Tonight, mostly cloudy, low of 59. Right now, we have sunny skies and 55 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It is 6:32. The law requires all jails provide medical care to their detainees. So why could St. Louis County stop that next month?
County Health Director Dr. Kanika Cunningham says an error made by the county council when slashing the budget left them nearly $3 million short of the funds to pay the jail's healthcare provider. She says after June, they will no longer be able to pay the contract and medical staff will no longer be there. Cunningham says if a detainee were to go without medical care, a lawsuit could follow.
We will experience individuals either dying or not getting access to timely treatment to control hypertension, diabetes, or whatever chronic care condition.
Cunningham says a bill to allocate the needed funds has been awaiting a final vote from the county council for weeks. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Expect water bills to burst in the city of St. Louis by the end of the year. A bill to raise rates set to be introduced to the Board of Aldermen today. If passed, homeowners would see 18% increases over the next 2 years, followed by increases of 6% or lower for several years after that.
But some St. Louisans could be eligible for rate relief. Spencer Gould, Deputy Water Commissioner, says residents can apply for financial assistance if they meet certain criteria like income and impact from disasters.
We understand that raising utility costs can put a burden on homes, especially ones that are already at risk. This was put forward to build in a sort of long-term structure to help those folks most impacted by raising costs.
Spencer also says the department is in the middle of a different assistance program offering up to $500 of forgiveness on past due water bills.
If you're an ESSA health patient, you may be in line for a small payout. The local physician group has settled a class action lawsuit over its April 2025 cyber attack. Total amount, $2.5 million. The breach exposed personal and medical information for hundreds of thousands of patients, which the suit alleges is far more than the company originally disclosed.
The settlement sets aside about $50 per person affected, plus 2 years of identity theft protection. The deadline to file a claim is August 4th.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We will have your money report next. It's 6:34.
Don't miss the final home game of the season. Your St. Louis Battlehawks take on the Dallas Renegades Friday, May 29th at 7 p.m. at the Dome. It's Battlehawks Kids Day. Plus, fans can score an Archie bobblehead while supplies last. Tickets start at just $18 at UFLBattlehawks.com. Caw-caw. Chris Ronchi, Amy Mark Scores. The Chris and Amy Show. It's not the same old talk. It's fresh, it's different, and it's local. Chris and Amy dig into the news that matters, but they also keep it light, keep it fun, and keep you smiling. Serious when it needs to be, silly when it can be. That's pure entertainment with a local heartbeat. The Chris and Amy Show, weekdays at 9 on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hello, 4th of July.
Back-to-back Jack. Kerry Robinson, a hero tonight.
The Cubs visit St. Louis May 29th through the 31st for a weekend of baseball's best rivalry at Busch Stadium. The history is real. The fans are loud, and the energy in the ballpark is unmatched. Day or night, every pitch matters when these two meet. So get ready, Cardinals fans. This is what summer baseball in St. Louis is all about. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/tickets.
The weekend starts at Busch Stadium. Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the Lou. With $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at cardinals.com.
It is 6:36 and time for your money report. It's sponsored by Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
This is the Bloomberg Money Minute. Global stockpiles of crude oil are shrinking at a record pace this month as the Middle East conflict drags on. Goldman Sachs estimates inventories are falling by 8.7 million barrels a day on the severely reduced flows through the Strait of Hormuz. Global energy markets have been upended by the conflict, which has led to an unprecedented supply shock. Checking on the market, stocks are seeing small gains. Traders are waiting to see whether hopes of a peace deal in the Middle East will translate into tangible progress. S&P futures are up 8 points, Dow futures rising 70. And Airbnb is pushing beyond short-term rentals. The company is partnering with luggage storage platform Bounce, which works with retail stores, hotels, and locker rentals to let people stow their bags for a small fee. Airbnb is also expanding private car pickups in major markets outside of the U.S. with airport transfer firm Welcome Pickups. It's also growing its grocery stocking service with Instacart. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
It's Tom Ackerman. Got a good one for you. Thursday, May 28th, the Cards and Cubs playing the next day. Their series kicks off. We are going to celebrate at the Beer Garden at Anheuser-Busch, and it'll happen on Thursday, the 28th. Join me for a Redbird Roundtable featuring 3 Cardinals legends. Ozzie Smith, the greatest shortstop of all time. Al Raboski, another Cardinals Hall of Famer. Matt Adams hit one of the most famous home runs in Cardinals history. The Wizard, the Mad Hungarian, and Big City, all with me on Thursday, May 28th at the Beer Garden at Anheuser-Busch Brewery. Doors open at 4:30. Here's the best part. It's free. We have cold beer. We're going to celebrate one of baseball's best rivalries, a free event. Must be 21 or older to attend. Full details at KMOX.com. Also online at BudweiserTours.com. That's BudweiserTours.com. Thursday, May 28th at Anheuser-Busch Beer Garden.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Hi, this is Congresswoman Ann Wagner from Missouri's 2nd District. I work every day to put more money in your pocket, secure the border, protect our shared Missouri values, and keep our communities safe. Whether it's visiting one of my public events in neighborhoods around the district or by contacting my office, I want to hear from you. If you need help with a federal agency, please contact me at wagner.house.gov.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Bernie Nicholas and the Gas House Gang, today at noon on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
640 on Total Information AM. Let's check the roadways with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's getting a little busier out there, Brian, but it's not bad for most folks. In fact, we had an incident. It didn't last very long. There was an incident. I guess it was a stall at the Illinois end of the Musel Veterans Bridge westbound. We had a little jam there as you round the bend, but that's thinned out pretty quickly. It looks great now from my vantage point coming through there. A little volume on northbound 55. This traffic reports the service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm north of Richardson, maybe midway to 141 up to the Merrimack slow, and then again the right lanes just north of Butler Hill. But like I said earlier, they wrapped up that roadwork north of Bayless and restriped everything, so it looks great once you clear 270 on North 55. Northbound 270 itself, approaching Doherty Ferry to Manchester, slow. Approaching Clayton Road up to Ladue is busy. Southbound 61, south of Wentzville Parkway on to 64. To about Lake St. Louis Boulevard, you've got the usual heavier traffic there. And on the Illinois side, just a brief delay. Westbound 64 coming through 159. Otherwise, the rest of the interstates are still good to go. Next update is 650 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. We're partners committed to you, your business, and your community. From family law to litigation, we're ready to serve. Visit sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
It is 6:41. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want you all to stop what you're doing and look out the window because I see blue skies and sunshine.
What?
I know. Blue skies. Look at it. Blue skies and sunshine.
I forgot what that looked like.
I know. I'm just telling people to enjoy it while it lasts. Joe Lundberg has more on our forecast.
Yeah, over the next few days, we're not going to see much in the way of sunshine, Debbie. So enjoy it, like you said, while it lasts. Because it's not going to last long. Clouds will increase later today, and that's going to seal temperatures up at about 69 or 70. That's just about 10 degrees below where it's supposed to be here in late May as we get ready for the long Memorial Day weekend. Tonight, mostly cloudy, but that'll keep temperatures up into the upper 50s. Mostly cloudy tomorrow. Can see a shower or two, but I really don't think it rains much tomorrow. The high 69. And even on Saturday, we've got a stray thunderstorm in the forecast in the afternoon. Most of the day looks dry. And if we get any sun, we can make a run at 80 or 81. Sunday looks to be mostly cloudy, kind of humid. Could be a pop-up shower or thunderstorm. A high 78. And Memorial Day, more of the same. Clouds, breaks of sun, kind of humid. There can be a pop-up shower or thunderstorm, most likely in the afternoon, with temperatures not too far from 80. Right now, 54 in St. Peter's, 54 in Florissant. Some sunshine and 56 degrees downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It wasn't Michael McGreevy's best night, but he did give the Cardinals a chance to win. They had a chance with the bases loaded in the sixth. We'll have highlights coming up at 6:45.
It's now 6:43. Waymo cars have been driving around St. Louis for a while now with human drivers, but will they keep rolling or head out of town? The Missouri legislature failed to pass legislation Waymo wanted that would have blocked local regulations and established law enforcement procedures and liability requirements.
Waymo spokesperson Chris Bonelli tells the Post-Dispatch vehicles have been mapping area roads since December. He says they're disappointed, but will explore every available avenue to invest millions of dollars in the infrastructure required to support their operations.
Currently, the Department of Homeland Security has only 7 forensic analysts to investigate children being trafficked. Senator Josh Hawley adding a provision to the reconciliation funding bill, allocating nearly $109 million to hire 200 child exploitation investigators.
There are 338,000 dots on that map. Let me say that again. 338,000 dots of known instances where a predator has posted to the internet images of child rape, child abuse, child sexual exploitation.
Hawley says last year the number of child exploitation reports increased to 20 million, most of which were online. Interpol estimates there are 90,000 images that the government has of child rape, exploitation, and sexual abuse.
The Missouri legislature has approved a measure that would allow schools to hire so-called rangers. They could carry a gun on school grounds and would have specialized training in close-quarter combat and bomb and arson techniques. KMOX asked legal analyst Brad Young if this raises any legal concerns. Young says it might if there's an incident.
And if a student, parent, or bystander is hurt, who's liable? Is it the ranger, the school district, or both?
The legislation awaiting the governor's signature.
An Illinois House committee advancing a bill that would restrict semi-automatic pistols capable of being converted into fully automatic weapons using aftermarket switches. House Bill 4471 cleared the Gun Violence Committee yesterday afternoon and is expected to pass the full House.
But State Rep C.D. Davidsmeyer of Murrayville argued against it in committee, telling colleagues the state has the wrong target.
You all threaten to take away my rights to protect my family. And I'm not going out and committing these crimes. I'm not putting a switch on any of my firearms. So we're pretending like we live in a bubble and we're creating this. And I know you're trying to do something, because I agree. I want to get rid of gun violence too. I think everybody sitting at this table wants to get rid of gun violence. But the problem that we're having right now is that we need crime control, not gun control.
If the full House approves the measure, it moves on to the state Senate. Gun rights groups have sued over similar Illinois firearms restrictions in the past.
With Ricky Orton, I'm John Rooney. The Cardinals go for a series win today, needing a victory to do that after the Pirates shut out the Cardinals last night 7-0.
Yeah, the list of things that went wrong is a lot longer than the things that went right yesterday as the Cardinals got beat 7-0. The Pirates bullpen was better than the Cardinals bullpen. McGreevy picked up a loss. He's now 3-3. But the Cardinals just seemed a step slow and just a little bit off yesterday, and hoping that today will be different.
In the sixth inning, the Cardinals had the bases loaded, 2 outs. Cesar Prieto at the plate. He drove the ball toward the Cardinal bullpen, but a sliding catch on the track by Jake Mangum, and the Cardinals didn't score.
I think that really sealed the game. That was the Cardinals' big opportunity. It didn't pan out.
And it's Dustin May on the mound today. Quick turnaround, 11:20 airtime. Ricky has the lineups at 12:05. I'll bring you May's first pitch at 12:15 as the Cardinals go for 2 out of 3 against the Pirates.
Elsewhere in Major League Baseball, how about the night Shohei Ohtani had for the Dodgers? I mean, come on, both pitching and hitting for the first time in a month. The guy just dominates again. Ohtani smashes his 8th bomb in the first, then proceeds to throw 5 shutout innings on the mound, giving up just 3 hits, striking out 4. Oh, by the way, LA takes down San Diego 4-0. Down in college baseball, Mizzou unable to advance past the second round of the SEC Conference Tournament, losing 12-2 to Mississippi State. In the NBA, the Thunder over the Spurs, 122-113 in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. That evens up the series at a game apiece. And in hockey, the Golden Knights beat the Avalanche 4-2 in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Dylan Coghlan scores his first playoff goal to get things rolling for Vegas. Game 2 on Friday. Who's Hot, Who's Not? Sponsored by St. Louis Composting, growing gardens and making memories. With reports at 15 and 45 past the hour, I'm Brian Fedlman on your home for St. Louis Cardinals baseball. KMOX.
It's Tom Ackerman, St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories, making people very happy around the St. Louis area with their 9 locations where you can pull up your truck or trailer and fill it up with mulch or soil or compost for your garden, your yard, your flower beds. Now, if you're like me and you just want it delivered to your home, you can do that too. STLcompost.com makes it very easy. STLcompost.com. They have a cubic yards calculator where you can determine how much mulch, soil, or compost you need. In our case, we went with the color-enhanced dark walnut mulch. It looks great around the yard, and they will take care of business for you. They will deliver it to your home or job site. It is St. Louis Composting, STLcompost.com. St. Louis Composting for soil, for mulch, for compost, growing gardens, making memories. Very easy. 9 locations, stlcompost.com.
Get everything you need for the entire job delivered. From lumber to drywall, flooring, and fixtures, get it all delivered from the Home Depot. With same day, next day, or any day delivery. Staying on track and on time is crucial to your job. That's why it's our job to get you what you need when you need it. We deliver the supplies. You deliver the results. Brought to you by the Home Depot.
Cards and Cubs. The rivalry returns to Busch Stadium May 29th, and we are kicking off the weekend early. I'm Tom Ackerman. Join me for a Redbird Roundtable featuring Ozzie Smith, Al Raboski, and Matt Adams. Thursday, May 28th at the Beer Garden at Anheuser-Busch Brewery. We're talking ball, enjoying a cold beer, and celebrating one of baseball's best rivalries. The doors open at 4:30. The Redbird Roundtable, Thursday, May 28th, a free event. Must be 21 or older to attend. Full details at KMOX.com.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX. Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
It is 6:50. Thanks for tuning in to Total Information AM. Let's get you caught up here on traffic and weather. And I'm just going to mention again, while it lasts, there is some bright sunshine out there. You may not be used to it. You may be squinting like a little mole rat, but grab your sunglasses on the way out the door. But it won't last for very long. We've got more on the forecast coming up. Here's Roger Brand. In the meantime, he's got the latest on the roadways from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, even with the sunshine, it seems like it's a pretty enjoyable drive for most folks. Debbie, this traffic reports the service of I-3 broadband, northbound 55, north of Richardson up through 141, sort of bogged down as you enter the work zone. But after that, you're home free again. They wrapped up their road work yesterday, so no longer any issues north of Bayless. Northbound 270, Manchester up to Ladue, that's pretty slow. Southbound 61, starting to bog down about midway between P and Wentzville Parkway into 64 through Prospect. Eastbound 70, a little slow approaching Lake St. Louis Boulevard and through Bryan Road, but after that, you're in the clear. South 170 ramping on eastbound 60 ramp starting to slow down. I know the sun hits in the eyes there. And just a brief delay as well on the Illinois side. Westbound 64 passing 159 right now. Spring is here. Time to toss out that dusty treadmill and your laggy cable internet. Upgrade to 100% in-home fiber from i3 Broadband. Plus, we're springing forward with our longest price guarantees ever on our gig speed internet services. No data caps, just pure speed. Visit i3broadband.com/radio and start your spring off right. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Meteorologist Joe Lundberg says we're going to see a little bit of sun today, but there will be some clouds, and that sunshine won't last for too long. High of 69 today. Tonight, mostly cloudy, low of 59. Tomorrow, more cloudiness, a shower and thunderstorm or two, high of 69. And then the wet weather continues in spots over the weekend. High of 81 on Saturday, 78 on Sunday, and then on your Memorial Day, it'll be a high of 80, but there could be a thunderstorm or two around, especially in the afternoon. Right now, we have sunny skies and 56 degrees downtown at the Arch.
The news continues on KMOX. Work underway at the Radioisotope Center at the University of Missouri. Matt Sanford says it will complement the university's research reactor.
New technologies are emerging using isotopes that can only be made in reactors like MURR, and in many cases, MURR is the only reactor in the United States making the isotopes needed for a particular medicine.
MURR is MU's research reactor. The U.S. Department of Energy is kicking in $20 million, which the state of Missouri is matching. Sanford, the director of the MU research reactor, says the isotopes are needed for advances in nuclear medicine as well as for research and national security.
Some new thinking on exactly how much exercise we need to dramatically reduce our heart attack and stroke risk. KMOX health editor Fred Bottomer has the latest.
A new study out of China suggests it may take 9 or 10 hours of exercise per week to reduce our cardiovascular risk by the optimal level of 30%. This is a big change from the current recommendations of about 150 minutes a week of moderate exercise or 75 minutes a week of vigorous exercise. However, some doctors say advising 9 to 10 hours a week of exercise is not a sensible health message, and they will continue to urge the current recommendations for now. But they say when it comes to exercise, more is better, and every movement counts. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Healthcare professionals want to answer questions on the hantavirus and Ebola. MU infectious disease specialist Dr. Taylor Nelson is not as concerned about the hantavirus as she is with Ebola.
We are taking measures in the U.S. to be more vigilant about tracking people who are coming into the U.S. from those areas where we've had documented cases.
Dr. Taylor Nelson says hantavirus is not a virus that is very efficient, but Ebola is.
While you're traveling, it's important to continue to do infection prevention measures for any virus or other illness. So hand washing, wearing a mask if you're sick or if you're around someone who is sick, keep your distance, right? So things just like the flu and COVID and other things can spread while you're traveling and especially in confined quarters like on cruise ships.
Ebola jumps more efficiently from person to person, and there is no known cure or vaccine for this strain. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
It is now 6:55.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement.
It's your birthday.
Celebrity birthdays on May 21st include football player Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills. He is 29. May you one day win a Super Bowl on your birthday, Mr. Allen. Also, happy birthday, TV actor Mr. T. How old do you think Mr. T is?
Pity the fool.
73 years old.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, I didn't give you enough time to answer.
I was like, 73.
Yes. Diver Tom Daly is 31, and happy birthday, comedian Hannah Ian Binder. She is 30.
And local celebrity birthdays are sponsored for you by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back. Happy birthday going out to Tana Wilhelm. Also, happy 24th, Mason Crishoni from Mom, Dad, Luke, and Andrew. Judy Becker is celebrating in Highland. Happy 19th to Sam Jenkins. And happy anniversary to Steve and May Lee Straight from the Life Group.
This is the best birthday ever.
If you are hoping to enjoy your outdoor space this Memorial Day weekend, well, lucky you, because some folks just don't have a great setup yet, but Chesterfield Fence and Deck can help. Or maybe you've noticed that the porch, the deck, your fence is starting to fall apart and needs replacing. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is the sign you have the very best. And what that means is quality and professionalism first in everything they do, because they provide the best and longest lasting outdoor products available with a skilled installation team to carry out the mission to be the very best in customer service and quality craftsmanship. Fences, decks, sunrooms, screen rooms, patios, retaining walls, and so much more. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is the company that you can trust with your home since 1968. Mention me, Debbie Monterrey, and they'll offer you 48 months interest-free financing. That should definitely help. So have a great summer and have the outdoor space you've always wanted with Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best. Online now at chesterfieldfence.com.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We're joined by Dr. Lewis Thomas, a WashU medicine urologist at Siteman Cancer Center, as we discuss bladder cancer. Dr. Thomas, is there anything we can do to prevent bladder cancer?
Yeah, Tom, that's a great question. So, probably 85% of bladder cancers are related to a history of tobacco exposure. And so I think, like many cancers, getting folks to quit smoking is one of the things that we, highly advocate for. I think for those who have been smoking for years, I will say, there's a lot of great tobacco cessation resources available through WashU and Siteman that they can certainly utilize. We do also know that, once someone quits smoking, the risk of bladder cancer, about 10 years after they quit, the risk of bladder cancer is actually then pretty similar to their peers.
Go to siteman.washu.edu.
6:59. Let's check in with Roger Brain in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Brian, northbound 270, Doherty Ferry up through Ladue. That's the busiest part of highways. And southbound 61, some slow stuff from P down onto 64 to Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Otherwise, we're not bad out there. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it is Thursday, the 21st of May. The sun is shining. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
It's official. You will see a giant data center along I-70 if you're driving from St. Louis to Mizzou. I'm Michael Calhoun with what Google is promising.
Good morning. I'm Brian Fedlman.
While there are no known cases of Ebola in the U.S., infection continues to spread in the Congo. I'm Maria Kina with what one infectious disease specialist is saying.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Some sunshine followed by increasing clouds today. The high 69.
In sports, the Cardinals have their chances in the 6th inning against the Pirates, but they can't bring it home. We will talk about it coming up at 7:15.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Passengers on an Air France flight from Paris to Detroit say they were left in the dark when the plane made an unscheduled stop in Canada over an Ebola scare.
No one told us what was actually happening, just that U.S. authorities were diverting us to Montreal.
Once they landed, a passenger was escorted out the back of the plane. The flight then went on to Detroit. CBS's Usher Qureshi is at the airport there.
U.S. Customs and Border Protection says Air France allowed a passenger from the Democratic Republic of Congo to board in error, violating new entry restrictions designed to keep a deadly strain of Ebola from entering the U.S. It's unclear when the person was last in the Congo or if they were showing any symptoms.
Former D.C. police officer Daniel Hodges is one of two on duty January 6th, suing over the Trump administration's proposed fund to pay rioters.
There's no reason that the government should be giving these people money. It's just that they committed crimes and they recorded themselves doing these crimes. So then they face the consequences right up until Trump pardoned them.
The anti-weaponization fund is paid for with taxpayer dollars. California's wildfire season is off to an early start, with more than 26,000 acres burning this week, forcing tens of thousands of evacuations. Correspondent Matt Gutman reports from Simi Valley.
A series of relentless wildfires fueled by powerful winds and dry conditions are menacing communities across Southern California. 10 active wildfires have torched tens of thousands of acres, sending families fleeing. With over 1,000 firefighters activated across the state, crews are tired and resources stretched.
The Surgeon General's office is urging parents to crack down on their kids' screen time.
The bulletin warns children and teens are spending more time on their digital devices than attending school or sleeping. It links excessive screen time to lower grades, anxiety, depression, and substance abuse. The advisory calls on young people to live real life and urges parents to limit children under 6 to less than 1 hour of screen time a day, and kids 6 to 18 less than 2 hours. The average teen spends 8 hours a day on devices. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Money's tight, but business is booming at Walmart. The company is reporting solid growth in sales and profits, even as the Iran war pushes up prices for just about everything. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
What this tells us is that consumers are still spending, but they're a little bit pickier. According to Walmart, they saw sales grow for grocery and general merchandise. That would include clothing and home goods.
Gas prices up to $4.56 a gallon today. This is CBS News.
What is going on?
What's going on here? How is this possible?
Great storytelling starts here.
Oh, come on.
Why? It's time for 60 Minutes.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas.
It is 7:04. We've got 54 degrees right now with sunshine in downtown St. Louis. A look at the forecast is on the way as well. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Brian Fedlman. Our top story, the St. Louis County Jail will soon no longer be able to provide medical care to their detainees.
Dr. Kanika Cunningham says the county council cut too much from the jail's budget and will not be able to pay the contractor that provides medical staff after June 30th. Cunningham says a bill to allocate the needed $2.8 million has been sat on by the council for weeks, and waiting any longer could be costly both to the county's finances and detainees' well-being.
Patients who come in, they automatically have a touch point with medical staff right at the start of them coming into the jail. We have contracted staff down at intake. That would no longer happen.
She adds if the contract lapses, they could have to find a whole new company, which could cost time, money, and lives. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
I don't think she's made a case that they actually need the money.
County Councilman Dennis Hancock explaining why they haven't passed a bill allocating the rest of the money to the jail's health care. He says he doesn't trust Cunningham unless she's under oath. And a request for her to testify in front of the council was sent weeks ago.
We had her come or invited to a meeting of the council a few weeks ago, and she refused to come.
Hancock says Cunningham needs to explain what the money is paying for, like how many of the jail's medical employees are staffed by this contract.
It looks like the cost of water is going up for city residents. Alderman introducing a bill today to raise rates. Bills would go up gradually over the next 8 years. This year, 18%, another 18% the next year, and 6% increases for the 2 years following that.
Deputy Water Commissioner Spencer Gould says those increases are necessary to keep bills from blowing up even more.
Although the 18% is a large number, because our rates are low, the average cost to our customers or flat rate customers will be $7 to $9.
Aldermen meet today at 10.
KMOX's Michael Calhoun tells us there's another wrinkle with postal problems in our area.
A new allegation surfaced at Congressman Wesley Bell's telephone town hall this week that Postal Service management of the St. Louis region is blocking mail carriers from working overtime to clear delivery backlogs. The claim came from a caller named Mustafa from Overland.
They want to deliver the mail, but the management, they're preventing them from working overtime so they can get the mail delivered to people.
Bell did not dispute the allegation.
This is a management and issue, not the hardworking frontline workers who are working, who are understaffed, under-resourced.
Issues including delayed mail, stolen checks, and dumped letters in the region are now under FBI investigation. Bell has teamed up with Ann Wagner to introduce the St. Louis Postal Accountability and Reform Act, which would require regular accounts to Congress. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The St. Louis Cardinals are making it official. As of last night, the upper right field bleachers at Busch Stadium are a dedicated tarps-off fan section. Over the last few days, the team says any fan can join regardless of where their ticketed seat is.
And fans did from the top of the first last night, heard right here on KMOX.
We may need some coffee for our tarps off guys out in the right field in the bleachers section. That group is starting to swell again. It's up to 25, 30, 40 guys right now, but it's a little cooler tonight.
It seriously sounds like a soccer match in a lot of ways, which is awesome. Really need that environment. Shirts, the Cardinals say, are optional regardless of the temperature.
From the KMOX business desk, a federal antitrust probe of a major St. Louis area company ending with significant changes but no lawsuit. Bayer Crop Science, headquartered in Creve Coeur, has agreed to drop several provisions from its loyalty program that the Justice Department called potentially anti-competitive. The agency was investigating whether Bayer's program unfairly tied its corn and soybean seed sales together and whether it discouraged independent retailers from doing business with Bayer's competitors. Bayer commits to not bring those provisions back for 7 years. The DOJ calls it a win for American farmers.
We will check your weather forecast and the roadways with Roger Brand next. It's 7:08.
Hello, 4th of July.
Back-to-back Jack! Kerry
Robinson, a hero tonight.
The Cubs visit St. Louis May 29th through the 31st for a weekend of baseball's best rivalry at Busch Stadium. The history is real. The fans are loud, and the energy in the ballpark is unmatched. Day or night, every pitch matters when these two meet. So get ready, Cardinals fans. This is what summer baseball in St. Louis is all about. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/tickets.
The weekend starts at Busch Stadium. Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the Louvre. With $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at cardinals.com.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs, attorneys, and for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertisement.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Americans demanded border security, and House Republicans delivered. According to the Department of Homeland Security, for 10 consecutive months, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has reported 0 illegal aliens released at the border. I'm proud to have worked with the Trump administration to secure our southern border and uphold our immigration laws, and will keep fighting to advance strong policies that protect Missourians and keep America safe.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 7:10. This is Total Information AM. And yes, the sun is out for the time being. This is a limited time engagement, so enjoy it while it lasts. We'll get you the forecast in just a moment. Here's Roger Brandon, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, things aren't looking all that bad out there so far this morning, Debbie. I do have a little bit of a backup. It looks like it's getting a little bit better. I can't see what's going on. It was probably a stall, but North 55 just before Potomac, we had an incident. There's still a little bit of a backup right at Gasconade briefly, but it doesn't look as bad as it did 5 minutes ago. So I think that's been maybe removed or getting pushed to the shoulder. If you're on northbound 270 approaching Doherty Ferry up to Ladue, there's heavy traffic most of the way through that run. Southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway into 64, most of the way up to Lake St. Louis Boulevard. It's heavy, but after that, it's wide open all the way through the Interbelt. Eastbound 70 looks great coming out of Wentzville. And on the Illinois side, we have that slowdown right now, just a brief one. Westbound 64 passing 159. Otherwise, the rest of these highways look great right now. Next update is 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather. There's some sun followed by increasing clouds today with a high of 69. And mostly cloudy tonight, though 59. Considerable cloudiness tomorrow. There can be a shower or two, high 69. For Saturday, clouds, breaks of sun, and becoming warmer. There can be an afternoon thunderstorm, high 81. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now we have sunshine and 55 degrees downtown at the Arch. Coming up in sports in 3 minutes, the Cardinals can't quite win game 2. They have a chance against the Pirates. Bases loaded in the 6th. Highlights coming up in sports.
It is 7:12, and the only Montessori high school in St. Louis is closing. The Montessori Adolescent Program, middle and high school, opened in 2016. It is closing at the end of the month due to financial instability, according to the Post-Dispatch. The school was home to 26 students and 7 staff. This comes as several other schools in the region close their doors for some of the same reasons, including the St. Louis Voices Academy Charter School.
The old Cleveland High School in Dutchtown has been sitting vacant for almost 20 years, and it shows. It's now owned by the city's Land Clearance for Redevelopment Authority, or LCRA, after a number of redevelopment efforts stalled. The city's issued a request for bids for stabilization work that includes roof repairs, boarding up windows and doors, and hauling off debris. Cleveland was built in 1915 and closed in 2006.
An attorney representing the mayor of Festus and the Festus council members facing a recall. Well, they're asking, the attorney is asking the Jefferson County clerk, Jeannie Goff, not to verify that petition. arguing that it lacks a legal valid reason. Goff says that is not her decision to make.
I've been asked, have you stopped doing the petition? I'm like, no, I think it would take a court order for me to stop doing the petition because statutorily I'm required to do this petition.
Goff says her job is to verify the signatures.
Earlier this week, Mayor Sam Richards questioned the legality of the recall and floated the possibility it was influenced by a foreign entity. Their attorney Chuck Hatfield says that isn't what they're officially alleging, but they are asking she scrutinize the signatures.
Make sure that they're legitimate signatures of registered voters in Festus.
Goff and she say her staff have had to cancel Memorial Day weekend vacation plans to ensure they can get these signatures verified in time.
That recall petition is all about a data center in Festus. Meanwhile, Google is making a $15 billion investment in Missouri.
The tech giant announced plans to build a major data center on the way from St. Louis to Columbia in New Florence in Montgomery County. It's the largest economic development project in the history of our electric provider, Ameren Missouri's service territory. Governor Mike Keogh says the project will create thousands of construction jobs and hundreds of permanent positions once the center is up and running. Google is also pledging $20 million toward an energy affordability fund for nearby households in mid-Missouri. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Missouri's Attorney General is going after a major Bitcoin ATM operator, calling the kiosks, quote, the new getaway cars for fraud. Catherine Hanaway filed suit against CoinFlip, which runs more than 140 of the machines in Missouri gas stations, convenience stores, and vape shops. Hanaway says the company knows it enables fraudulent transactions and profits from them through excessive fees. She's asking a court to ban CoinFlip from operating in Missouri. The feds say fraud losses at crypto ATMs have surged nearly tenfold in recent years.
It is 7:15.
Well, after a special night Tuesday in Game 1 versus the Pirates, the Cardinals unable to carry that magic over to Game 2. The Redbirds blanked by Pittsburgh at Busch last night, 7-0. The trouble for starter Michael McGreevy started in the second inning, facing Spencer Horwitz with no one on base.
The 2-1 pitch, and that is hit deep down the right field line toward the corner, and the ball is out of here for a home run for Horwitz. Horwitz is 2 for 2 in this series, 1-0 Pirates, as that ball just cleared the wall in the right field corner.
John Rooney the call right here on KMOX. McGreevy trying to keep the Cards in it despite not having his best command.
The pitch, a swing and a miss. Herrera picks up the ball. First base is occupied, and Rodriguez is out. The first strikeout for McGreevy.
He goes 5 innings, giving up 3 runs on 10 hits. Not McGreevy's best, but good enough to keep the Cardinals in it. They just, need some offense. Best chance for the Cards comes in the 6th inning. Bases loaded, 2 out for Cesar Prieto.
From the stretch, the pitch on the way. A swing, and there's a drive to right field. Mangum moves back. He's at the wall, and he makes the catch. Sliding and making the play. So the Cardinals leave the bases loaded.
Oh, man, that had given the Cardinals the lead. Instead, nothing. From there, the Pirates get to the Redbirds bullpen and put this one out of reach.
The runner goes for second. The pitch is swung on line down the left field line. That's a fair ball headed toward the corner. It's cut off by Fermin. The throw gets past the cutoff man, and another run's going to score. 2 runs cross the plate on the double by Brian Reynolds. 7-0 Pittsburgh.
And that's how it ends. 7-0 the final. After the game, manager Ollie Marmol on his starting pitcher.
He wasn't as sharp as he would have liked to be. He felt like he was predictable with some of his usage as well. Didn't land his curveball at the rate that he normally does as well. So just overall, a lot of contact, got to 2 strikes, wasn't able to put a whole lot of guys away. And then the balls in play, a lot of them found holes.
McGreevy agrees on that assessment.
Kind of shoot myself in the foot, just getting behind the guys. Thought I bared down when I needed to, and not upset with a couple of the blooper infield singles that happened today. Don't think 10 hits tells the whole story, but still I can't be falling behind and be 58% strikes all day.
Game 3 to decide the series, a day game at Busch. 12:15 first pitch right here on KMOX. Dustin May takes the ball for St. Louis. Your cut of the game sponsored by The Diamond Shop, thediamondshop.net. With reports at 15 and 45 past the hour, I'm Brian Fedlman on your home for St. Louis Cardinals baseball, KMOX.
Everyone needs to have at least one person in their corner in life. When you don't, it's an extremely lonely and frightening place to be. But knowing you have that one person gives you peace and hope. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Since 1988, myself and my firm have been in so many corners for so many clients for so many years. We became the largest injury firm in the world for a reason, and it's not even close. We fought like hell for you. We fight the bullies, automobile insurance companies, the makers of unsafe products, medical providers who injured or killed their own patients. It has been such an honor and made my life complete. If you ever need us, it's easy. On your mobile device or computer, visit forthepeople.com, and then we get to work 24/7. Whether you're hurt in a car crash, injured on the job, or have questions about your Social Security, we're here for you. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
In a world in need of a hero, one man rises to the challenge in style. He is
just driving the kids to soccer practice.
Make every day feel epic in the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid with up to an EPA estimated 619 miles of range on select trims, advanced tech, and class-leading interior space. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
And hey, come on, no cleats on the seats.
Chris Ronchi, Amy Mark Scores. The Chris and Amy Show. It's not the same old talk. It's fresh, it's different, and it's local. Chris and Amy dig into the news that matters, but they also keep it light, keep it fun, and keep you smiling. Serious when it needs to be, silly when it can be. That's pure entertainment with a local heartbeat. The Chris and Amy Show, weekdays at 9 on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM, KMOX. Now the news. At 9, the talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:20, time for traffic and weather. You might be a bit confused about what's happening outside, but the sun is shining, and it will only be shining probably for a little bit. We'll have details on the forecast on the way, but you might need some sunglasses if you're heading out the door right now. Hopefully that's not delaying anyone, but Roger Brand would have all the details from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, there are a few slowdowns out there, Debbie, and some of them are headed into the sun, so it could be the reason. Northbound 55, those right lanes are just slow north of Butler Hill, ramping on to North 270. Once you get past that point, still a little slow gas getting up to Potomac. We had an earlier incident. It was jammed there earlier. Now it's just a slowdown, so it's getting better. North 270 is your ramp on from 55 up through Gravois slow, and then north of Big Bend all the way up to Ladue, pretty busy. Southbound around Ladue, just a touch off the pace. Eastbound 70, Lake St. Louis through Bryan Road. It opens up by the time you get to K, and then you're a good run all the way across the Blanchette. Eastbound 64 coming off 61 and 70 through Prospect. Again, it's opening up before Lake St. Louis Boulevard. After that, you're clear. Westbound 64, just a little volume running through Bellevue right now. And westbound 64 has heavy traffic, both sides of 159. I'm also seeing a slowdown on westbound 270 from 203 to Route as well. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Don't miss the final home game of the season. Your St. Louis Battlehawks take on the Dallas Renegades Friday, May 29th at 7 p.m. at the Dome. It's Battlehawks Kids Day. Plus, fans can score an Archie bobblehead while supplies last. Tickets start at just $18 at UFLBattlehawks.com. Caw-caw.
Yes, the sun is shining, but for a limited time only. Make sure you don't miss out. Some clouds later today, high of 69 degrees. Tonight, mostly cloudy, low of 59. And then more cloudiness and some showers and possible thunderstorms over your Memorial Day weekend. Not a ton, but meteorologist Joe Lundberg says they are very possible. High of 69 tomorrow, and then Saturday, clouds, breaks of sun, possible thunderstorms in the afternoon, high of 81. Still 78 on Sunday, but possible thunderstorms in places. And then on Memorial Day, mostly cloudy, humid. Again, a thunderstorm could be around, especially in the afternoon. High of 80 degrees. Right now, we have sunny skies and 55 degrees downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 7:22. Is the U.S. Constitution in need of reform? College students from across the country will debate revisions this weekend in St. Louis.
The School of Law at Washington University in St. Louis is hosting a national model constitutional convention. Undergraduate, graduate, PhD, and law students representing 81 institutions from across the country will make their arguments for changes. Dean of WashU Law, Stephanie Lindquist.
I'd like them to learn about how to collaborate and build consensus among themselves
to achieve that 3/4 supermajority requirement to adopt an amendment. And that's a considerable achievement.
Lindquist points out the most recent amendment to the U.S. Constitution in 1992 was spurred by a college student. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Waymo cars have been driving around St. Louis for a while now with human drivers, but will they keep rolling or head out of town? The Missouri legislature failed to pass legislation that Waymo wanted that would have blocked local regulations and established law enforcement procedures and liability requirements.
Waymo spokesperson Chris Bonelli tells the Post-Dispatch that vehicles have been mapping area roads since December. He says they are disappointed, but will explore every available avenue to invest millions of dollars in the infrastructure required to support their operations.
Interpol estimates that there are 90,000 images that the government has of child rape, child exploitation, child sexual abuse, but where we don't know who the child is or where she is. 90,000 of these images, but we don't know where they are. Mr. President, we don't know how to rescue them.
That's Missouri Senator Josh Hawley allocating nearly $109 million to hire 200 child exploitation investigators and forensic analysts to rescue trafficked children.
Interpol estimates that there are 90,000 images that the government has of child rape, child exploitation, child sexual abuse, but where we don't know who the child is or where she is. 90,000 of these images, but we don't know where they are. Mr. President, we don't know how to rescue them.
Hawley says every family faces the risk every time their child logs on or posts something on the web. When they get a phone, they will be solicited by a predator, lured into a dangerous situation.
That they will themselves be trafficked, children taken from their homes, children lured away and kidnapped, children forced into sex slavery all across this country.
Hawley says child trafficking is now nourished, nurtured, and fed by social media companies who know what's happening but do nothing about it.
Do you want armed rangers in your kid's school? That's what legislation sitting on Governor Kehoe's desk would allow. KMOX legal analyst Brad Young at Harris Young and Kaiser doesn't expect any legal challenges immediately.
But the question becomes later. For example, if something happens at a school and these rangers are involved, the questions are going to be, did a school district follow the statute? Did a ranger comply with federal school zone gun laws, or did the ranger use reasonable force?
The measure would allow the Missouri House and Senate, approved by the House and Senate, would allow schools to hire volunteer or paid guards called Missouri Rangers. They could carry a gun on school grounds and would have specialized training in close quarter combat and bomb and arson techniques.
A bill targeting semi-automatic pistols that can be modified into machine guns has cleared an Illinois House committee, but it's drawing sharp pushback in debate. House Bill 4471 passed the Gun Violence Committee yesterday. Republican State Rep C.D. Davidsmeyer says Illinois has its priorities backwards on crime.
I am all for prosecuting gun crime to the fullest extent of the law, but we've gone the opposite direction here in the state of Illinois. We've gone the opposite direction on all crime here in the state of Illinois. We don't want to hold anybody responsible for their actions. We want to blame the inanimate object instead of the individual who committed the crime.
The bill now heads to the full House, where supporters expect it to pass. If it clears the Senate, gun rights organizations could mount legal challenges, as they have against previous Illinois firearms laws.
The Transportation Security Administration quietly updating its policy concerning marijuana. We'll have that story for you coming up on Total Information AM at 7:27, and that time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up. Why would life-saving care require a membership? In a real emergency, are you reaching for your wallet or your phone to call 911? And what if the member helicopter isn't the closest one? What if they don't carry blood on board? What if those differences matter? They do. Arch Air Medical Service is proud to serve Effingham and surrounding communities with life-saving air medical care. Our highly trained crews deliver advanced medicine in the air, because when seconds count, capability matters more than a card in your wallet. Plus, we're part of Air Methods, the nation's largest air medical provider. Worried about cost? Here's the truth. The No Surprises Act protects patients with private insurance from unexpected out-of-network air ambulance bills. You'll only pay your in-network copay, coinsurance, or deductible. If you have Medicare or Medicaid, similar protections apply. Providers cannot bill beyond those limits. That means no Air Medical membership is needed. Learn more at airmethods.com. Copays, coinsurance, and deductibles are set by insurance providers, not Air Methods. Terms and costs may vary. Contact your insurer for details.
A common question I receive is, how is the market right now? It just seems so volatile. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. If you want to buy or sell but feel overwhelmed by the whiplash of the market, then let's talk. With over 23 years as a broker, I have the exact experience you need to help you navigate this tricky market. Call me at 314-441-4444. 314-441-ALL-4s. And remember, why pay more than two?
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. After 15 years and over 50,000 cancellations, I can tell you with confidence, we know how to get you out of your timeshare. Call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit guide absolutely free with all your options for cancellation. Attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-838-6767. 800-838-6767. 800-838-6767.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I was just at Staples. They're having a huge 40th anniversary sale.
40 years. Note to self, send flowers.
Up to 50% off. Save on chairs, paper, balloons, and more.
Balloons?
Yeah, Party City is now at Staples.
Surprise!
But the anniversary sale is only 2 weeks, so...
Quick, celebrate 40 years of savings at Staples with up to 50% off. Shop chairs, paper, break room supplies, and more. 2 weeks only in 523.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in store, online, or on the app.
It is 7:30 and we have sunshine, 55 degrees right now in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Brian Fedlman. Let's check the roadways with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, if you're traveling up on Highway 55 this morning, you've got a pretty good run going. There's a little bit of a slowdown right now running from Bayless up through the Loughborough area. North 270 as you ramp on from 55 through Gravois bogged down. Then you've got a busy stretch again, 44 all the way up to 64 Ladue. South 270 just a little busy right around Ladue. If you're on eastbound 70, approaching Lake St. Louis Boulevard, most of the way into Highway K, so east of A to K, you're sort of busy. It's also a little slow off the Blanchard into our city. Southbound 61 Wensville Parkway onto 64 at the Boulevard, you're off the pace as well. You're busy now from Clarkson into about Timberlake. Westbound 64 from Hampton all the way to Hanley. That's at a slower pace as well downtown. Westbound 64, West 5159, getting more congested to the 3rd Street to the Poplar. 64 is slow after that as well. 270 just a little busy approaching the Chain Rock, so better approaching Route 3. Next update at 7:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Some sunshine, which we are enjoying right now out the windows of Studio B, but increasing clouds as we head through the day. High of 69 today, considerable cloudiness tomorrow with a shower or two and a high of 69, and then maybe a stray afternoon thunderstorm on Saturday, but much warmer. Clouds with breaks of sun on Saturday and a high of 81. It's 55 out there right now.
It's 7:32. An off-duty New Baden police officer has died after being hit by a car in Clinton County, Illinois. The crash happened Tuesday just before midnight. Police identified the officer as 59-year-old Dave Jordan. Jordan started his law enforcement career in Belleville. He then worked with Trent Police and transferred to the New Baden Police Department more than a decade ago. No word yet on any charges related to the crash.
The law requires all jails provide medical care to their detainees. So why could St. Louis County stop providing that next month?
County Health Director Dr. Kanika Cunningham says an error made by the county council when slashing the budget left them nearly $3 million short of the funds to pay the jail's healthcare provider. She says after June, they will no longer be able to pay the contract and medical staff will no longer be there. Cunningham says if a detainee were to go without medical care, a lawsuit could follow.
We will experience individuals either dying or not getting access to timely treatment to control hypertension, diabetes, or whatever chronic care condition.
Cunningham says a bill to allocate the needed funds has been awaiting a final vote from the county council for weeks. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
City residents could see their water bill spike 18% by the end of this year, and that's just the beginning. Deputy Water Commissioner Spencer Gould says the department's been running under a deficit for the past 7 years.
We're projected to completely eliminate or utilize all of our money and reserves by the end of this fiscal year. So with that being zero, we are in a little bit of a difficult time right now, a sort of existential issue.
The plan would raise rates gradually over the next several years through 2032. The first 2 years of increases, 18%, then 6% a year after that.
Commissioner Gould expects aldermen to introduce the bill at their meeting later this morning. Bills could see higher amounts as soon as the next 4 to 6 weeks.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Your money report next at 7:34.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
If you're struggling to hear conversations, TV, or the people you love, now there's an easier, more affordable solution without spending thousands. Audion Hearing makes high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98 with free shipping and dedicated one-on-one support in the comfort of your own home. No doctor's offices, no pressure, clearer hearing delivered right to your door. Join over 1 million happy customers hearing life more clearly. Visit audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
It is 7:35. Let's get you updated on your money report from Bloomberg, sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. The turnaround at Stellantis rides on whether it can revive Jeep and Ram. While Ram sales jumped 20% in the first quarter, Jeep deliveries ticked up just 3%. That's despite a redesign of the Grand Cherokee, a more affordable Grand Wagoneer, and the launch of the compact Cherokee. Even though Jeep retooled its lineup this year to be more affordable, dealers say the Cherokee is still priced too high and the company needs to be more generous with incentives. Checking on the markets, Iran says the latest proposal from the U.S. has partly bridged the gap between the warring sides as they look to turn the fragile ceasefire into a peace deal. Stock futures are seeing small gains. And Pepsi is preparing to raise prices on some of its smaller bags of chips. Sources tell us the soda and snacks maker is looking to hike prices by as much as 20 cents as it faces higher production and distribution costs. Pepsi says the increase will apply to a limited number of products beginning in late June. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
This is the Our Idea is Ready to Launch vision. This is the Create Great Jobs vision. This is the We Need More Space vision. This is Busey, where your business visions become realizations through securing capital for growth and comprehensive strategies that ensure a prosperous future. Because thriving businesses mean thriving people and thriving communities. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Nor Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
If you're an animal lover like I am, you are no doubt familiar with the Humane Society of Missouri. Why don't you meet your new best friend? If you can go online right now at hsmo.org, you can just see all kinds of adorable dogs, cats, and other animals who need a forever home. My dog, Lola, is a rescue from the Humane Society. In fact, she was rescued from a puppy mill situation in southern Missouri, and she is the love of my life. So this is a very typical story. When I was at the Humane Society's Bark in the Park last weekend, I ran into so many people who had adopted their dogs through the Humane Society, and those dogs had been rescued in equally difficult situations. So it's so nice to know how many animals get second chances thanks to the Humane Society of Missouri. They help farm animals as well. If you've ever been to their Long Meadow Rescue Ranch out in Union, it is really a fantastic place. So help support the organization that for a century, actually probably 120 some years, I lose count, has been helping animals in Missouri all across the state and 2 locations here in the St. Louis area. HSMO.org. It's the Humane Society of Missouri.
Hi, this is Congresswoman Ann Wagner from Missouri's 2nd District. I work every day to put more money in your pocket, secure the border, protect our shared Missouri values, and keep our communities safe. Whether it's visiting one of my public events in neighborhoods around the district or by contacting my office, I want to hear from you. If you need help with a federal agency, please contact me at wagner.house.gov.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
It's Tom Ackerman. Spring is a beautiful time of year, but we also know it means insects, it means thunderstorms, it means tree growth. It has a lot of things that could be dangerous to your home and property. Have Gamma Tree experts come over and take a look at it all. They will cut back tree limbs. They will take care of any dead trees that appear around your area, as well as the emerald ash borer, which can cause major problems to ash trees here in the St. Louis area. And despite the best tree care program, sometimes Mother Nature will just do its thing when it comes to tornadoes, thunderstorms. When you have storm damage, call on Gamma Tree experts to take care of that. They are the best in the business since 1954. You can go to gammatree.com to learn about these or any of the other things that Gamma Tree experts offers in this St. Louis area. Gamma Tree experts, gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
740 on Total Information AM. Brian Fedlman alongside Debbie Monterrey. Let's check the roadways with Roger Brandon, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
No, they're definitely busier, Brian, and we're at the peak of the rush hour. This traffic reports the service of Artistic Decks. If you're northbound on 55, we have an incident. They might have cleared it. I can't see it on the camera, but there's a jam from River to Pear up through to about Virginia, but it's opening up as you get through Holly Hills, so it looks a little bit better than it did, but still delays. North 270, you're just plain old bogged down from 55 pretty much all the way to Ladue. South 270, south of 364 to Ladue is slow. Eastbound 70 backs up at a couple of spots, into Bryan Road. And after that, it looks like you're good to go. A little slow on 370, 94 to the Discovery Bridge and the work zone. Southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway into 64 to about Lake St. Louis Boulevard's busy. A little slow down to Clarkson. A little slow between Ballas and Lindbergh, or east of Ballas, I guess. And then at the Interbelt, westbound 64, Hampton to Big Bend. You're kind of off the pace there. On the Illinois side, westbound 6450, most of the way to 159 is busy. And then there's a couple of spots where it slows down from 64 headed across the Poplar Street Bridge. Next update at 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
This Memorial Day, Artistic Decks is honoring the season with rollback pricing. Precision craftsmanship meets old school American value to help you save big. Quality you can trust. Call 314-280-0821. Artistic Decks, making dreams affordable.
Let's get you caught up on the weather here, because you might go out the door today thinking, oh, good, we're back to sunshine. But I think it's just a passing thing. Let's check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg.
It's beautiful right now, Debbie, with sunshine. Enjoy it while it lasts, because it is not going to last long. I look to our southeast, there's clouds. To our southwest, central and south Missouri, mostly cloudy. To our northwest, a lot of clouds. And those clouds are going to return to our area later today with a high of 69. They won't bring much rain with them, though, in the next 36 hours. Mostly cloudy tonight, a low 59. Maybe a shower or two tomorrow under mostly cloudy skies, but that should be about it, the high 69. If we go into the weekend, clouds will break for a little bit of sun on Saturday. Could be a pop-up thunderstorm in the afternoon. I still think most of the day is going to end up rain-free to high 81. A risk of a shower or thunderstorm both Sunday and on Monday, with more clouds than sun both days, but I would not consider either day a washout at this point in time. Temperature Sunday, Monday, upper 70s to near 80. Pretty typical for this time of the year. 54 at St. Peter's, 55 in Florissant, sunny, 56 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Cardinals trying to take the series against the Pirates. Game 2 last night doesn't go their way, but we got a day game today. Sports coming up in 2 minutes.
It is 7:43, and the World Health Organization says patient 0 in the Ebola outbreak in the Congo still has not been found, and the disease continues to spread. This strain has no cure or vaccine at this time.
Mizzou Health Center's infectious disease doctor Taylor Nelson says there's a low risk of transmitting hantavirus, but that's not the case for Ebola. It jumps from person to person more efficiently.
So I think that is a bigger concern as we head into the summer months and as far as spread goes. But we are taking measures in the U.S. to be more vigilant about tracking people who are coming into the U.S. from those areas where we've had documented cases. And so right now, I would say the risk to Missourians is again, very low.
Dr. Nelson says outbreaks like Hanta and Ebola highlight how important public health systems are, so critical and should be fully funded and staffed, especially as we are seeing more infections jumping from animals to humans.
Think you're getting enough weekly exercise to dramatically reduce your cardiovascular risk? A new study out of China finds you may need to step up your game a lot.
This new study sought to find out how much exercise it would take to reduce your risk of heart attack and stroke by 30%. The researchers found it took 560 to 610 minutes a week of moderate to vigorous exercise, or 9 to 10 hours each week, to get your risk down that low. This is a big difference from the current recommendations of about 150 minutes a week of moderate exercise or 75 minutes of vigorous exercise. However, some doctors say advising 9 to 10 hours a week of exercise is not a sensible health message, and they will continue to urge the current recommendations for now. But they say when it comes to physical activity, more is always better. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
The Webster Groves Water Park will open in time for Memorial Day. The park features a 3-pool, lazy river, splash pad, and other attractions, and opens on Saturday. It'll be open weekdays from noon to 8 p.m. and from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. on weekends.
With Ricky Horton, I'm John Rooney. The Cardinals go for a series win today, needing a victory to do that after the Pirates shut out the Cardinals last night 7-0.
Yeah, the list of things that went wrong is a lot longer than the things that went right yesterday as the Cardinals got beat 7-0. The Pirates bullpen was better than the Cardinals bullpen. McGreevy picked up a loss. He's now 3-3. But the Cardinals just seemed a step slow and just a little bit off yesterday, and hoping that today will be different.
In the 6th inning, the Cardinals had the bases loaded, 2 outs. Cesar Prieto at the plate. He drove the ball toward the Cardinal bullpen, but a sliding catch on the track by Jake Mangum, and the Cardinals didn't score.
I think that really sealed the game. That was the Cardinals' big opportunity. It didn't pan out.
And it's Dustin May on the mound today. Quick turnaround, 11:20 airtime. Ricky has the lineups at 12:05. I'll bring you May's first pitch at 12:15 as the Cardinals go for 2 out of 3 against the Pirates.
Elsewhere in Major League Baseball, how about the night Shohei Ohtani had for the Dodgers? Pitching and hitting for the first time in a month. The guy just dominates. Ohtani smashes his 8th home run of the season in the first, then proceeds to go out of mound and, no big deal. Throws 5 shutout innings, giving up just 3 hits, striking out 4. LA takes down San Diego 4-0. Down in college baseball, Mizzou unable to advance past the second round of the SEC Conference Tournament, losing 12-2 to 16th-ranked Mississippi State. In the NBA, the Thunder take down the Spurs 122-113 in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. That evens up the series at a game apiece. Game 3 Friday. Tonight, it's Game 2 of Knicks Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference Finals. New York took Game 1 Tuesday. Knicks favored by 6.5. I'll take the over on that one since it is in New York. Parlay of the day sponsored by Circa Sports. Sports betting the way it should be. In hockey, the Golden Knights beat the Avalanche 4-2 in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Dylan Coghlan scores his first playoff goal to get things rolling for Las Vegas. Game 2 Friday. In the East, Game 1 between the Canadiens and Hurricanes tonight at 7 o'clock. Ins and Outs sponsored by Innsbrook Resorts, where every day is the weekend. With reports at 15 and 45 past the hour, I'm Brian Fedlman on your home for St. Louis Cardinals baseball, KMOX.
It's Tom Ackerman. I feel like there's always something new being built at Innsbruck. The new homes that have gone up, some of the new neighborhoods. There's a new pool that they unveiled this year. Innsbruck has grown over its 50 years. It is no longer a secret. It is the ultimate. When it comes to a resort in the St. Louis area, in the Midwest, people are coming from all over the Midwest to go to Innsbruck. You have a gem right here. It's just 45 minutes from our house. It's about an hour from downtown, minutes from Wentzville. It's in Warren County. It's off the Wright City exit. It's Innsbruck. And once you go through the gates at Innsbruck, you are welcomed into a world of 100-plus lakes, 7,500 acres, a golf course, fishing, hiking, great area for dining, shopping. It is phenomenal. It's Innsbruck. You're going to love Innsbruck. I know you will. Innsbruck-resort.com just to get started. That's Innsbruck-resort.com. Innsbruck Resort, where every day is the weekend.
Hey, Missouri, it's game time. Start betting like a pro with the world's largest sportsbook at your fingertips. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I'm a lifelong sports bettor, and I'm the owner of Circus Sports. It's sports betting the way it should be, with high limits, player-friendly pricing, exceptional customer service, and more. Download your new bookie at circusports.com. The action starts now, Missouri. Experience the difference with Circus Sports. Bet like a pro.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Feel the rhythm and turn it up, St. Louis. Legendary rock icons Santana and the Doobie Brothers are bringing the heat to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater June 20th for the Oneness Tour 2026. From Black Magic Woman to Listen to the Music, this is the concert event fans don't want to miss. It'll be a summer night soon not forgotten. Santana, the Doobie Brothers. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. For more info, go to KMOX.com/events.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX. Now the news at 1, the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:50 and it's time for another check of the roadways and the weather. So let's check in with Roger Brand, who's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got a little slowdown, Debbie. North 55, Loughborough, Holly Hills, and then it's bogged down 4500 Broadway up toward Potomac. We had an earlier incident there. North 270 north of 55 is slow to 44. Pockets from there to about Doherty Ferry, but remains busy all the way to Ladue. South 270, 364 down to Ladue. It's slowed down a couple of times. Eastbound 70 from the Wayscales into David Hokel Parkway looks busy. A in through Bryan Road. Again, there's a couple of spots where it's a little off the pace. Eastbound 64 coming off 61 to Lake St. Louis Boulevard. It's busy. A slowdown through Clarkson and briefly at the Interbelt. The Interbelt starts to bog down south of Page to 64 now. Westbound 64 Science Center to Big Bend is busy. Downtown, westbound 70 past the Musial Veterans Bridge is slow. Westbound 64, 3rd Street to the Poplars heavy. Eastbound 64 roadwork. 255 backed up to 157 in a crash. Westbound 64, I believe it involves a motorcyclist just before 159, so it's a pretty solid jam at 50. Next update at 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
I still see the sunshine out there. Now, meteorologist Joe Lundberg says don't get too used to it, but for right now, it is there. It'll get cloudy later today, high of 69 degrees tonight, mostly cloudy, low of 59. Tomorrow, this is when the wet weather could arrive in certain spots around the region. Cloudy with a shower or two, high of 69 degrees. And then Saturday, clouds, breaks of sun, warmer, but a stray afternoon thunderstorm very possible, high of 81. We could have more thunderstorms Sunday with 78-degree temperatures. And then Memorial Day, more thunderstorms possible, especially in the afternoon, high of 80 degrees. Right now, we still have sunny skies and 55 degrees downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 7:51. Have you seen those Bitcoin ATMs that have popped up at gas stations and convenience stores? They are now the target of a lawsuit in Missouri from Attorney General Catherine Hanaway, who is suing CoinFlip, which operates more than 140 of those ATMs across the state. She accuses the company of facilitating scams and charging excessive fees on transactions that can't be reversed. Hanaway says scammers love these machines because the money is hard to trace and impossible to get back once it's sent. Missouri Highway Patrol data shows 350 crypto fraud cases over the past 2 years have involved one of these ATMs.
A St. Louis area physician group agrees to pay $2.5 million to settle a class action lawsuit over a big data breach. ESSA Health hit by a cyber attack last April that exposed sensitive information, names, birth dates, health records, and in some cases, social security numbers. The breach originally reported as affecting roughly 24,000 patients, but the lawsuit estimates the real number closer to 521,000. Those eligible can expect to get about $50 and 2 years of medical identity protection.
Google building a $15 billion data center in rural Missouri. We get the details from KMOX's Michael Calhoun.
The site is in New Florence, about 70 miles west of St. Louis. You'll pass it if you're headed along 70 to Mizzou. It's going to be one of the company's largest investments in the state, with thousands of construction jobs during the build and hundreds of permanent positions on the way. Google also committed to paying 100% of the project's power and infrastructure costs and plans to fund programs to help reduce energy bills for nearby residents.
New research shows that more people are using AI tools to represent themselves in court. Total Information AM asked our legal analyst what he thinks.
Well, I'm actually dealing with this right now myself with pro se litigants who are using AI.
That's Brad Young, partner at Harris Young & Kaiser. Pro se is the legal term for representing yourself. Researchers found a noticeable increase in the number of plaintiffs filing their own cases. AI is believed to be the reason.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that the documents being filed with the courts are correct, legitimate, or persuasive when it comes to making a judge reach a decision.
Young tells KMOX he's concerned use of AI for legal filings could clog the courts with cases that have no merit. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
A little road trip is a much bigger deal for many Americans this summer. Patrick DeHaan of Gas Buddy says their latest survey shows fewer will be hitting the road.
Well, the majority of Americans, in fact, 2/3 of Americans, saying gas prices are directly impacting their summer travel plans. 36% also separately in another question say rising costs are causing them to take fewer road trips altogether.
And those who do may pull back on other things like dining out in order to save some money.
Say goodbye to some of your furry little backyard friends because Missouri's squirrel hunting season starts this weekend. Hunters can bag a few of the most common squirrels in the state per day, namely the eastern gray squirrels and fox squirrels, which are the gray ones and the reddish ones. The season starts Saturday and ends next February.
Purina Cares Day is today. It's the 25th year. They've done this day of service. Food is distributed to local families and pets in need. Kim Beardsley is the director of community affairs with Purina.
You know, every year it seems like our region is facing difficulties. This year, food prices have gone up. And, we know that at least 1 in 5 households experiences food insecurity. So this is a really important part of the event each year. We're able to feed over 300 families and their pets through this event. And it's just 2 hours of giving out food to people and pets.
It's at Energizer Park between 9 and 11. People will be given a week's worth of food and also free dog and cat food.
We will check your morning commute with Roger Brand next. It's 7:55.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. You know, when you go to the Audiology Center, you'll see a doctor of audiology. And with us right now, Dr. Colleen Bosler. Dr. Bosler, what are some of the signs of hearing loss?
Well, it's a number of things. Sometimes loved ones notice a person asking others to repeat themselves, or the television is too loud. What people tend to notice first with hearing loss is the loss of clarity. They can hear people talking, but they cannot always understand what's being said. That's because the hearing loss can cause you to miss certain consonant sounds, and those consonant sounds give us the detail to the word. A hearing aid can help bring back those details and give you a sense of clarity that you're missing.
Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center with 3 locations in the greater St. Louis area. Call for an appointment, 636-441-7470. Online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
Trust is earned.
That's why I've stuck with Straight Talk. Same price since 2009 on Verizon's 5G network. Cause shoot, anyone can make a promise. Keeping it for years, that means something.
Now plans starting at $25 a month with 4 lines. Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Same price claim applies only to the base monthly price of our $45 plan from October 2000.
Cardinal Cowboy. Is your garage door past its prime? Get a free repair or replacement quote from Renner Garage Door. Renner is America's oldest family-owned garage door company that serves both wholesale and retail markets. Right now, get $100 off a new garage door when you mention this ad. With trusted brands like Delden, Amar, LiftMaster, you know it's built to win. Renner's also hiring experienced techs and installers. RennerDoorSTL.com. Forward and back.
RENNER, RENNER.
Let's check in with Roger Brand. He joins us right now from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, you have busy stretches. We have that crash on the Illinois side, Debbie, on westbound 64 just before you get to 159. Looks like they cleared it. This is just a slowdown now, so it's what you normally expect from 50 through 159. Eastbound 64 would work back up from 255 to 157. Westbound 64 at the Poplar slows at about 3rd Street for you. If you're on northbound 55, there's still some slow traffic. Holly Hills up through 4500 Broadway. Northbound 270, Gravois, all the way to Ladou's busy. South 270, south of Olive to Ladue, a little slow. Eastbound 70A through Bryan Road, or Lake St. Louis Boulevard, I guess, to Bryan Road is kind of busy. 64 are heavy through Prospect, and then at the Interbelt, westbound 64, Science Center to Hanley heavy, and a slowdown south of Page down through about Ladue on South 170 right now. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Thursday. It is May 21st. I'm Debbie Monterrey, and you can bet on just about anything in prediction markets. States are starting to ban them. We go in depth after the news. What kind of summer are we going to have? Dave Murray has his exclusive summer forecast for us. The Dean of Education at Webster University has some tips for making sure your kids have the kind of summer that gets them recharged for school in the fall.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Some morning sunshine, then increasing clouds this afternoon. Our high today, 69.
CBS News is on the way, and Ebola restrictions prompt a Detroit-bound flight with a passenger from Congo to be diverted. We'll get the latest at 8 o'clock at the Tone.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Health experts are questioning procedure after an Air France flight from Paris to Detroit made an unscheduled stop in Montreal, where a passenger was escorted off the plane over an Ebola scare. CBS News medical correspondent Dr. Celine Gounder.
Should people be worried about this? No, you're not going to catch Ebola from sitting next to somebody who doesn't have symptoms on the plane. And I think it was really sending the wrong message for the flight attendants to be masking up, because that's going to be scaring people unnecessarily.
The plane, passenger that is, from Congo, the plane flew on to Detroit. Air France says the flight landed in Canada after it was denied entry into the U.S. On Monday, the Trump administration closed these borders to anyone who'd been in Congo, Uganda, or South Sudan. Travel troubles at the airport in New York. A sinkhole on a runway at LaGuardia triggered delays and cancellations last night, and the repairs aren't finished yet. CBS New York's Elijah Westbrook is at the airport.
They're telling us that the goal is to have the impacted runway open at around 12 p.m. today. But in the meantime, they are urging travelers, early morning travelers in particular, to expect delays and potentially cancellations while the work is being done. Right now, there's only one runway that is open, so it's limiting just how many planes can take off and land.
3 people died. 18 first responders were hospitalized after they were exposed to an unknown substance in New Mexico.
The call came in as a possible drug overdose in a home in the small town of Mountain Air. Police found 4 victims. 2 were already dead. A third died later. 18 first responders started feeling dizzy and nauseous and were decontaminated at a local hospital. Mountain Air Mayor Peter Nieto says 2 of them are in serious condition.
You still have our EMS chief and others who are still with illnesses or being monitored at the hospital. It's a very scary situation.
Investigators say there is no threat to the public. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Mark Zuckerberg's Meta has begun slashing its global workforce. Business Insider's Hugh Langley says it's all about artificial intelligence.
He has this vision of basically cutting out middle managers, almost getting rid of a lot of managers entirely, smaller teams working more with AI, and trying to be more efficient that way.
Countdown's underway for test launch of SpaceX massive Starship rocket later today. Space consultant Bill Harwood.
The SpaceX sees the Super Heavy Starship rocket as the centerpiece of the company's future. It's the most powerful rocket ever built, with twice the liftoff thrust of NASA's SLS moon rocket, and it's designed to be fully reusable. That's never been done before.
This is CBS News.
The stars shine brighter on CBS Morning. This is a slam dunk.
So cute.
Gail came in singing for me today.
On CBS Mornings.
At 8:03, we have sunny skies, 54 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch. Today is Thursday, May 21st. Water rates could gush sky high under a plan being introduced to St. Louis City aldermen today. It would raise water rates by 18% in both 2026 and 27, followed by increases of about 6% each year through 2032. Deputy Water Commissioner Spencer Gould says they've got to do the price hike now because the water department's bank accounts will run dry by year's end. He says while the water service has been given funding from pandemic relief dollars, those capital funds can't bridge the department's yearly deficit.
These one-time expenditures are great lifelines for us and help us stay solvent in the short term. But when we're talking long term, the challenge of any utility is charging the true costs of what it takes to make the water.
The law requires all jails provide medical care to detainees, so why would St. Louis County stop next month?
County Health Director Dr. Kanika Cunningham says an error made by the county council when slashing the budget left them nearly $3 million short of the funds to pay the jail's health care provider. She says after June, they will no longer be able to pay the contract and medical staff will no longer be there. Cunningham says if a detainee were to go without medical care, a lawsuit could follow.
We will experience individuals either dying or not getting access to timely treatment to control hypertension, diabetes, or whatever chronic care condition.
Cunningham says a bill to allocate the needed funds has been awaiting a final vote from the county council for weeks. Shaw Malone, KMOX News.
Councilman Dennis Hancock says Dr. Kanika Cunningham needs to come in and testify about why they need the $2.8 million for the jail's medical staff. He says they have a hard time taking her word with that word coming under oth.
Dr. Cunningham has a track record of not being completely honest with the council in the past on several different issues. So just to say, trust me on this, on $3 million of the taxpayer dollars is something I'm not interested in doing.
Hancock says it wasn't a mistake cutting this money from the budget, adding their budget process was thoughtful and deliberate to reduce impact. St. Louis's congressman says a report on our region's mail problem is in his hands.
Wesley Bell says the Missouri congressional delegation has now also met with the Postmaster General about the St. Louis mail crisis. At a telephone town hall, Bell tells constituents he's not planning to take any promises of change on faith.
We have been assured that every single recommendation in that report will be implemented, but we got to make sure that it's done, because if you don't measure something, you can't fix it.
Delayed mail, stolen checks, and dumped letters are now under FBI investigation. Bell's St. Louis Postal Accountability and Reform Act would direct the Postmaster General to file regular delivery performance reports with Congress. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Those Bitcoin ATMs popping up at gas stations and convenience stores are now the target of a Missouri lawsuit. Attorney General Catherine Hanaway has sued CoinFlip, which operates more than 140 of the ATMs across the state. She's accusing the company of facilitating scams and charging excessive fees on transactions that cannot be reversed. Hanaway says scammers love the machines because the money is hard to trace and impossible to get back once it's sent. Missouri Highway Patrol data shows 350 crypto fraud cases over the past 2 years have involved one of the ATMs. The Cardinals leaning all the way into tarps off. The team says the upper right field bleachers at Busch Stadium now a dedicated high-energy fan section, shirts optional. And during last night's game, you could hear the high energy. It almost sounded like a soccer match supporters section.
J.J. Weatherholt. Mason Wynn is back at short tonight, playing up the middle. Cesar Prieto started out at shortstop last night. He's playing third base, playing off the line.
That's John Rooney here on KMOX. From the KMOX business desk, a major Justice Department investigation into one of the world's largest seed companies, headquartered right here in Creve Coeur, ends up with new restrictions on how Bayer does business with farmers. Bayer Crop Science, formerly Monsanto, agrees to remove what federal investigators called potentially anti-competitive provisions from its loyalty program, specifically rules that forced independent seed companies to hit sales targets on both corn and soybean seed to get discounts. Bayer also agreed to drop incentives that discourage seed companies from working with competitors. The company commits to keeping those changes in place for 7 years. We'll get a check of traffic and weather in 2 minutes here on KMOX. It's now 8:08.
Working families are being impacted by higher electricity prices while utility profits increase. Competition lowers electricity's costs, but that's not what your utility wants. Your state legislation rejected their legislation to eliminate competition. Now your utility is trying to ignore them and ask DC for monopoly favors, putting corporate profits over protecting consumers. Hardworking taxpayers deserve better. Call your congressional leaders today. Ask them to tell FERC to say no to no-bid billion-dollar transmission projects paid for by the Electricity Transmission Competition Coalition.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. My best advice to you when hiring a lawyer for your injury case is simple. If you know court personnel, ask them who they'd hire. They know. If you know an insurance adjuster, ask them. They know. And then ask them about us. Ask them about Morgan & Morgan. They know. I look forward to talking to you soon. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm for the people. Injured? Dial pound law.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-720-8444. 314-720-8444. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-720-8444.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 8:10. Let's get an update on your ride into work with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, we're still slow on North 270, but it's primarily just 44 up to Ladue now. South 270 just has a couple of spots where it's a little off the pace between Olive and 64. Not that bad. Eastbound 70 approaching Lake St. Louis Boulevard through Bryan Road, still busy at a couple of spots. 64 slow east of Lindbergh through the Innerbelt. Westbound 64 Hampton out to Hanley. There's still delays there. If you're on northbound 55, just a little busy. Gasconade to Potomac, and on the Illinois side, westbound 6450 through 159 is heavy, and then it's slow across the Poplar. Southbound 255, you have that roadwork slowdown between Camp Jackson and Route 3 Depot, and there's roadwork delays eastbound 64, actually a jam, 255 into 157, and then an eastbound slowdown after that approaching 159 as well, and seeing a little slowdown westbound 270 at the Innerbelt in North County also. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Some sunshine today will fade beyond increasing clouds, high 69. Mostly cloudy tonight, low 59. Mostly cloudy tomorrow, a shower or two, high 69. Clouds and peaks of sun Saturday and warmer, but there may be an afternoon thunderstorm, high 81. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Currently, we have 54 degrees in Florissant, 55 in St. Peters, and sunshine 57 downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Minnesota is now the first state to ban prediction markets. There's been a lot of controversy and confusion about this form of speculation. To help us sort it out, I reached out to Covers.com, a sports betting, gaming, and prediction markets hub. And joining me now on the Quiver River Electric guest line is Ryan Butler, a senior news analyst for Covers. Ryan, thanks for your help this morning.
Yeah, happy to be here.
First off, how do prediction markets work?
Yeah, it's a question that we're going to argue all the way through the Supreme Court, likely, is with it. Prediction markets come in a lot of different shapes and sizes, and your listeners know one's heard with it. There's kind of two big categories I look at. One is sports, and the other is basically everything else. And this is where you see headlines about political events. You can see pop culture events. You can see number of streams of a certain musician, things like that online, all those different things. So there's two really big different categories with it. But the simplest way to look at it is it looks and acts like a sports betting app. For the sports, obviously, it resembles, and then people who are familiar with sports betting apps will see the interface, even the nomenclature, how bets are phrased looks very similar. And then for the other events, it's kind of the same thing. You can, just with a click of a button on your mobile app, use one of these prediction markets, and you can, what they call, trade on the outcome of an upcoming election, on who will win the next Grammy Awards, on really, literally thousands and thousands of different things. And it's really just that easy with a click of a button from a phone app.
Now, it's my understanding that this is more of a peer-to-peer market where money changes hands between individuals. Is that correct?
Yeah, so that's one of the key distinctions and one of the things we're looking at with the legal battles and why these have been able to kind of coexist. Unlike a traditional sports book where you're betting against the house, this is a exchange platform. This is regulated currently and looked at as if it's more like a stock. It is similar to how, with a stock, if ever you buy a stock, someone has to sell it. Whenever you want to sell a stock, somebody has to buy it. That's sort of the same idea. Now, again, in practicality, if you are using one of these platforms, you can't really tell the difference, but that is kind of how they are able to function and all that. It's this idea that all these things are essentially like stocks.
We're hearing a lot about this, but are they really that popular?
It depends on how you ask and it depends on how you phrase it. There's a lot of different numbers that go floated around with it. They talk about trading volume, which is the amount of trades back and forth. That's in the billions of dollars. But again, that's a little bit misleading because of just how this works. And if you trade for a penny and you trade it back and so on and so forth. So it's a big deal. There's definitely, I would say, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of users who are using these platforms with some regular basis. One of the big things we're looking at, though, is that the two biggest prediction markets in the U.S., best known companies, are Kalshi and Polymarket. Both of them are not publicly traded yet, but have valuations estimated at $20 billion plus, which is bigger than DraftKings, so one of the biggest sports books. So there's a lot of interest. There's a lot of idea and potential. And there's a lot of things that the growth is just beginning as these become more and more adapted and understood.
Yeah, I've seen Kalshi in the headlines a lot. As I mentioned at the start, Minnesota has passed this ban against prediction markets. Immediately, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission filed a lawsuit. Who really has oversight over these markets?
Yeah, that's a big question with it, right? That's the foundation of the legal battle. The federal government has been adamant that they have oversight. They have said that these trading platforms, these are stocks, that they have to have federal oversight because it's ideal. Like a stock market really wouldn't work. The NASDAQ or the S&P, that wouldn't work if there was a trading only between states. It has to be federalized. They've argued that we are this federal platform. We are trading, everything with it. The sports betting industries are the regulators that we've seen in Missouri, we've seen in Illinois, we've seen in a bunch of other states have kind of questioned this. And then in Minnesota, where the lawmakers are coming in and questioning this. When you look at these apps, they do function and feel just like sports betting apps. And again, that's the separation between this and some of those other issues. We talked about the politics and everything with it, which is a whole different conversation. Just focusing on the sports here, that's the concern, is that these things replicate sports betting and are illegal gambling because they don't have licenses at the state level. They're arguing that it's a federal thing with it. And that's, again, been the biggest kind of justification in the court. Minnesota passed that bill earlier this week, and within 24 hours, the CFTC, the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, which is a federal regulation body that oversees this, has sued on behalf of the prediction markets, sued on behalf of the federal government. And again, that is going to lead to more and more court battles. We've already seen more than a dozen states in some sort of legal battle with the CFTC or with one of the prediction markets.
Are you seeing any other states trying to propose similar laws or even at the federal level, new regulations being proposed?
Yeah, at the state level, we've had a couple others float similar ideas. They haven't gotten as far as Minnesota's. We've seen a couple other states that have floated, well, you can be legal, but you have to adhere to our laws and pay state taxes, things like that. So there's that aspect of it. There's kind of a few floating around these things. typically take a while, as governments are usually reactionary instead of proactionary. So it could be maybe another year or so. Also, most state governments, most state legislatures, they adjourn usually by this time of the year, May, June, or before 4th of July. So there's the kind of, we've got a couple floating, but Minnesota's is really the only big one we're looking at right now. For the federal government, there's a handful of bills as well that are looking to some way crack down, regulate, change, alter prediction markets as part of kind of a larger thing with sports betting. These have not gained much traction. It is much harder to pass something at the federal level than it is at the state level, but it's definitely something here. It's something we're seeing. And on Wednesday, the Senate Commerce Committee held a multi-hour hearing about sports betting, but most of it, honestly, was about prediction markets. So clearly it has Congress's attention.
Ryan, as our listeners try to sort this out for themselves, what do you feel like they need to know and the potential risks of prediction markets?
Yeah, so right now, I'd say from a legal perspective, you're completely fine. There's nothing to worry about that. If you choose to use some of these prediction markets, understand that it is now legally fully there. You don't have to worry about it. And again, focus on ones that are federally regulated, not ones that are offshore, which is a whole other issue with it. So just be aware of that. The other side of it is, if you are using these platforms, though they might legally not be sports betting, they do function and feel and act a lot like sports betting. And just like a sports bettor can get in trouble if they gamble irresponsibly, you can get this on trading. I look at the prediction markets very similar to Robinhood. If you're familiar with that, or some of these other kind of day trading type platforms where you can sell and buy stocks, second to second, minute to minute, and you can lose a lot of money that way. So I just caution anybody who wants to use these platforms. Can be fun. They can be interesting. There's a lot of different aspects of it, but understand that they can also lead to money loss. And to please, if you do choose to trade on them, trade responsibly, trade within your means, and understand that these are, a trading platform and not necessarily a retirement fund, a savings account. It is something that I would recommend treating it the same way as someone who chooses to bet on sports, understanding the risks involved.
That's Ryan Butler, senior news analyst for Covers.com. Ryan, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, happy to be on. Thanks for having me.
Coming up on Total Information AM, what kind of summer will we have? Dave Murray brings us his exclusive forecast. The Dean of Education at Webster University is looking at summer. We'll get some tips for making sure your kids have a great season that gets them recharged for school in the fall. And then speaking of charges, is your cell phone battery life a source of frustration? I'll talk about the phone batteries of the future with CNET's Abrar Al-Hidi. That is coming up this morning right before 9 o'clock. It's now 8:19. Let's get you updated on the roads and the slowdowns out there. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
No, the biggest slowdown, Megan, is still northbound 270. It's bogged down from 44 all the way up to Ladue. Eastbound 64 east of Lindbergh into Big Bend's heavy. South 170, Brentwood to 64, still slow. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley. They're still bogged down the whole way through there. Just a couple of very short slowdowns. Eastbound 70 briefly east to 79 and Earth City into 270 after that. If you're on northbound 55, you look great. On the Illinois side, we have roadwork delays. Southbound 255 from Camp Jackson down to Route 3 Dupont, westbound 64 50 to 159, and then approaching 157, and eastbound 64 a short jam 255 to 157. Westbound 64 is still slow west of 3rd Street to the Poplar after that. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And checking that forecast for today, it's going to be a sunny one, a high of 69 degrees, cloudy by the time we hit tonight with an overnight low of 59. And then considerably cloudy tomorrow, a shower or two possible, a high of 69. Right now, sunny skies, 57 degrees downtown at the Arch.
Brought to you by USPS Ground Advantage.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast.
Pump up the volume.
When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Right now, inflation is squeezing budgets, and global events can shake up the markets overnight. If you're close to retirement, you don't get unlimited do-overs, so this is not the time to just hope it works out. That's why Steve Aul and the team at the Aul Financial Group are hosting an upcoming educational seminar called Retirement Simplified, June 16th at the Aul Financial Group office. You'll learn how rising costs could drain your spending power, how political and economic headlines may impact your returns, and whether your retirement strategy is truly stress-tested for today's economy. This event is complimentary, and you must reserve your seat today. 636-230-8824. You can also get more details online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, or registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions. The All Financial Group is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the U.S. government or any other government agency.
In a world in need of a hero, one man rises to the challenge in style. He is...
just driving the kids to soccer practice.
Make every day feel epic in the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid with up to an EPA estimated 619 miles of range on select trims, advanced tech, and class-leading interior space. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
And hey, come on, no cleats on the seats.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
You're back with Total Information AM here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. St. Louis meteorologist Dave Murray out with his quarterly seasonal forecast, and you hear it exclusively here on KMOX. His read on June, July, and August comes down to a tug of war. On one side, there's a bubble of hot, dry air parked over Texas and the Southwest. On the other, a flow coming in from the Northwest that's gripped the region all spring and won't let go. How that battle resolves over the next 3 months, Dave says, decides almost everything: temperatures, storms, and whether the region sees any kind of drought. He starts with the big forecast in June.
Temperatures by the end of the month, with the bounce around, should average out to be just about average to slightly above. Pretty bearable month. June is also a month when thunderstorms typically really rock and roll. In my book, it's the wettest month of the year, mainly due to thunderstorms. And I do think June storms will be active with that northwest flow, thinking 4 to 6 strong to severe weather events. That's above average. All-day rains never happen in June. I think rainfall for the month will be above to possibly well above average, so no drought concerns this June, but flooding, flash flooding, will be a concern in the thunderstorm pattern.
Historically, June in St. Louis has an average high near 86, a low near 67. Murray says expect volatility, some days that hit those numbers, some that run well above, and a few chilly days mixed in. That same swing carries into July, when the average temperature should climb to around 90.
July, typically the core of the summer heat and humidity for the St. Louis area, but my thinking this July, not so fast, my friend. It will continue to be the battle between that intense surge from the southwest, hot and dry and very dry, bone dry flow, and the summer break. I think the northwest flow is going to continue in July. So the key, the heat and dryness from the southwest does not take solid control. In fact, I'm thinking attacks will be rather limited. The northwest flow having the bulk of the weather muscle, but there's going to be battles in the air masses. Yes, it will be hot and at times very humid. It's July. Can't get away from that. But the northwest flow is going to keep this July from becoming a true summer beast. As a result, temperatures when looking at the entire month will be about average for the middle of summer. So it's not too hot. At least it's not anything that we can't handle. Yes, I think it will be the hottest month of the summer, but in the acceptable range.
On rainfall, Murray sees another wet month in July with 3 to 4 severe weather events. Then comes August, which in a typical St. Louis summer is the dry, hot tail end of the summer season.
Average high, 88. Average low, 69. The bouncy temperature pattern continues in August. Overall, this is looking like a very bearable summer month for temperatures. The intense summer heat from the south-southwest will remain locked in place as a rare northwest flow, rare for summertime, will make a few August visits. No record highs, no record lows. Temperatures, when we add up the numbers, will be below, maybe well below average for August, but we do have to watch those little surges from the southwest. Rainfall, typically a very dry month. Never really want to fight that idea, but drought is not a concern for August like the bulk of the summer months. The storm track is going to remain active with the northwest flow.
You can hear Dave each day at 3:30 on the Dave Glover Show, as well as our hourly afternoon newscasts here on KMOX. Coming up next on Total Information AM, officials had to divert a plane. That's due to the Ebola outbreak. We'll give you the latest on that situation. It's now 8:27, and this time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. After 15 years and over 50,000 cancellations, I can tell you with confidence, we know how to get you out of your timeshare. Call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit guide absolutely free with all your options for cancellation. Attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-838-6767. 800-838-6767. 800-838-6767.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathy Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
Hi, Margaret with Eamon Gantner and Capriano. We all procrastinate. We put things off, confident we'll have time later. Well, one who procrastinates in choosing will inevitably have their choices made for them by circumstance. Could be an illness or even a death. And it happened to me. I was widowed at 41. It could happen to you. If you procrastinate and fail to plan for your future, for your children, circumstances and the courts will make your plans for you without your input. Eamon Gantner and Capriano help thousands of families plan for their future now. We can be your personal attorney too, guiding you with a will, trust, powers of attorney, Medicaid, and VA. You may delay, but time does not. Eamon Gantner and Capriano, YourEstateMatters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
8:30, let's check back in with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. Roger, where are the slowdowns?
Well, we still have heavy traffic on northbound Highway 270, Megan. This traffic reports the service of Artistic Decks. Slow north of 44, pretty much all the way up through 64. If you're on eastbound Highway 64, you've got slow traffic, McKnight to Big Bend. Westbound 64, Clayton, Skinker to Hanley, slow. South 170, Boggs down at Brentwood. Eastbound 70, it sounds like on the 94 exit we may have a motorist sick case, but the through traffic's fine. It is slow, though, east of the Blanchette Bridge into 270. Eastbound 44, seeing a little bit of a backup. Looks like we have an incident. I can't tell if it's a stall or a crash before Kings Highway. Traffic's backing up at Hampton. And we also have an incident now westbound 64, right as you get near Tudor, blocking a traffic lane. It looks like it's in the left pair of lanes, so traffic's jammed at 3rd Street. Westbound 64 is still slow. 50 through 159 and eastbound 64, 255 through 157 is heavy in the work zone. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Kick off summer this Memorial Day with Artistic Decks. We're celebrating with American-style value and rolling back prices on every precision-built deck. Get the backyard you've always wanted. Call 314-280-0821. Artistic Decks, making dreams affordable.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk. We're going to have some sunshine today, followed by increasing clouds with a high of 69. Cloudy tonight with a low of 59. In the news this morning, the World Health Organization continues to warn that the Ebola outbreak in the eastern Congo is likely to grow. U.S. officials are sending aid to help contain the outbreak, but health experts say major challenges remain in the conflict-ridden region. CBS News medical correspondent and KFF Health News editor-at-large for public health, Dr. Celine Gounder, explains what concerns experts the most right now.
This is really labor-intensive work, and it requires people, it requires supplies, so all of the personal protective equipment, which you go through in reams and reams of, right? And a screening facility without real treatment, it actually becomes a place that's risky for people to be transmitting to one another. And it can also destroy trust because people worry about, therefore, am I actually going to a place that's going to give me any kind of treatment? Am I just going to get sick by going there?
Meanwhile, an Air France flight bound for Detroit was forced last night to divert to Canada after being barred from entering the U.S. due to concerns over Ebola. The plane was eventually allowed to land in Detroit.
Should people be worried about this? No, you're not going to catch Ebola from sitting next to somebody who doesn't have symptoms on the plane. And I think it was really sending the wrong message for the flight attendants to be masking up, because that's going to be scaring people unnecessarily.
The Department of Homeland Security says starting today, any foreign travelers who have been in Congo, Uganda, or South Sudan in the last 21 days will now have to fly into Washington Dulles Airport only. Dr. Gounder says there is precedent for that decision.
That is not dissimilar to what we did during the 2014-2016 outbreak. We actually had funneled not just to one airport, but I think it was 3 airports that we had funneled people into. So that was to facilitate screening once you got into the country. It wasn't to prevent passengers from coming here entirely.
The latest numbers, there are 139 suspected deaths and almost 600 suspected cases. The World Health Organization has said patient 0 has not been found.
Hey, Mom, now that I have an after-school job, I think I want to buy a drum kit.
Okay, Rockstar. Let's look at your account. When kids start making money, Chase has easy-to-use tools and expert bankers to help them learn how to manage it.
And next month, I'll buy the bass drum and the cymbals. Oh, and maybe some noise-canceling headphones for you.
Aw, you've thought of everything. Help kids save, budget, and build financial independence, all with Chase. That's good for kids and good for parents. Visit your local Chase branch and get started.
Account subject to approval. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Time for your money report now. It's sponsored by Eamon Gattner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Courtney Donahoe.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Stock futures are pointing to a lower open today as investors digest yesterday's market rally and NVIDIA's earnings report. It failed to ignite further strong gains in the artificial intelligence trade, and treasuries fell across the curve. Oil was also down, but it's moving a little higher today at $101 a barrel. Little change on the jobs front last week. The Labor Department just reported initial claims fell by 3,000 to 209,000, signaling layoffs remain muted despite some recent job cut announcements from high-profile companies such as Meta, Starbucks, and Walmart. And Samsung reached a tentative deal with its labor union this morning, avoiding a potentially crippling strike that was supposed to start today. As part of the deal, the company will give chip employees massive bonuses, averaging $340,000, according to Bloomberg calculations. Those payouts are poised to go out early this year and highlight the importance of semiconductor workers who've become indispensable to Samsung's global AI build-out. Monica Ricks, Bloomberg Radio.
Kicking back on your patio with a nice cold beverage, listening to the game, enjoying family and friends, a little barbecue, maybe the shade of the pergola. Who knows what your outdoor space looks like? Or maybe it doesn't look like much and you need some help. Call Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best. They're like your summer headquarters to make sure that your outdoor space is ready for all the celebrating or relaxing that you have planned. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best for 58 years. A family-owned local company that does quality work, and that makes it a real value, because when Chesterfield Fence and Deck does your project, it is going to last for years to come. And they'll offer you 48 months interest-free financing if you mention me, Debbie Monterrey, sent you. So you can visit them in person in the Chesterfield Valley or online right now at chesterfieldfence.com. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
Back-to-back Jack! Kerry Robinson, a hero tonight!
The Cubs visit St. Louis May 29th through the 31st for a weekend of baseball's best rivalry at Busch Stadium. The history is real, the fans are loud, and the energy in the ballpark is unmatched. Day or night, every pitch matters when these two meet. Get ready, Cardinals fans. This is what summer baseball in St. Louis is all about. Don't miss a moment of it. Get your tickets at cardinals.com.
The weekend starts at Busch Stadium. Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the Lou. With $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at cardinals.com.
Hi, this is Congresswoman Ann Wagner from Missouri's 2nd District. I work every day to put more money in your pocket, secure the border, protect our shared Missouri values, and keep our communities safe. Whether it's visiting one of my public events in neighborhoods around the district or by contacting my office, I want to hear from you. If you need help with a federal agency, please contact me at wagner.house.gov.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Whoopah! The most mouth-watering event of the year is back. Join us this Memorial Day weekend for the St. Louis County Greek Fest at Assumption Greek Orthodox Church. Enjoy authentic Greek food, lively music, dancing, and church tours. Credit cards only. Visit stlgreekfest.com for full details.
This is 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. Meta slashing its global workforce. The tech giant began laying off 8,000 employees yesterday as it shifts money and staff toward artificial intelligence. AI chipmaker NVIDIA's quarterly results blew past Wall Street's expectations once again, fueled by massive demand for its high-end AI chips. And Senate Republican leaders expected to abandon a proposal for $1 billion in security money for the White House complex and President Donald Trump's ballroom after it's failed to win enough party support on Capitol Hill. Let's get you to work safely. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're still busy on North 270, Megan. This traffic reports a service of financial and tax strategies. It's approaching Doherty Ferry all the way up to Ladue. Pretty slow through there. Eastbound 64, east of McKnight to Big Bend, still busy. South 170 delays at Brentwood. Westbound 64, Clayton Skinker, Big Bend area, pretty congested. Eastbound 70 still kind of busy. Earth City into 270. They cleared that stall 44 at Kings Highway. Things are back on the go there. We still have an incident downtown. Westbound 64, first of all, west of 50 through 159 is heavy. And then you've got a jam from the 70 split up to just about Tudor. There's an incident in the left pair of lanes there, causing that jam, so stick to the right-hand side. And southbound 255, south of Cam Jackson down to Route 3 Depot, we have a road work to slow down as well. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
If your retirement plan is mostly what if and a little fingers crossed, you deserve better answers than that. Check out Wealth and Wisdom Saturdays at 7 a.m. here on KMOX. I'm Gary Goldberg. Call 800-966-1690.
Should be a pretty day today. Sunny skies. We will see some increasing clouds as the day goes on. Expect a high around 69 degrees. Mostly cloudy tonight with an overnight low around 60. And then tomorrow, more clouds, a shower or two is possible with a high near 70. Right now, we have sunny skies, 57 degrees in downtown St. Louis. Thanks for joining me this morning on Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch, and the school year is winding down or maybe even over already for some of our kids. How do we know what our children need over the summer to be able to go back to school recharged and ready? I reached out to Stephanie Mahfood. She's Dean of Webster University's School of Education. She came in studio this morning to try to give us some tips. Stephanie, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
My pleasure. Almost happy summer.
Yeah, exactly. I know you almost have kids out of school. My kids were done Tuesday. I'm already thinking about, okay, what I need to do to make sure that their summer is productive, but they do get some rest. So, for you, how do you view the summer months for kids?
I view the summer months as a wonderful opportunity for children to explore in different ways things that they're passionate about, that they have interests in, and to really apply the learning that they've built over the school year in unique and interesting ways.
So when parents look back on the previous school year and you're assessing, what do my kids get out of it? What do they need for the upcoming year? What are some of the things we need to consider?
So I think some of the things we need to consider is, first of all, I think a lot of the discussion around learning loss is very multifaceted and complex. When you look at the data, learning loss, there, depending on the study you're looking at, the loss can be documented as anywhere between 3 months on the higher end and 1 month. But that really varies by individual student. It varies by reading and math. It varies by region. And so I think when we look at our students' needs in the summer, we need to consider kind of a range of options. Perhaps students who might have been absent over the summer a little bit more or have special learning needs might benefit from more structured academic programs, at least in part over the summer. But then I think we can look at a continuum of opportunities that range from more structured interest camps and other kinds of more programmatic kinds of options, and then just different kinds of personal projects, working in the garden, going hiking, participating, having some kind of goal for reading books, accessing a lot of our community resources out in the St. Louis area and beyond. So I think it's a continuum of choices that people have.
Are we still seeing a pandemic hangover in education?
To a certain degree. I think it depends on, again, what you look at. So when we look at student learning loss, there are still data that suggest that our students in reading and math have not fully recovered compared to pre-pandemic levels. Math seems to be a little bit more sensitive, particularly when you look at the summer learning loss. However, those numbers vary by state and even by regions in a state. We know that students in more rural areas, students that are from socioeconomically disadvantaged populations and students of color seem to be more disproportionately affected. So there's the learning loss. There's also a rise in chronic absenteeism, which is officially defined as missing 10% or more of the academic year. When you look at 180 days of a typical school year, that's about 18 days. Those levels have increased. Pre-pandemic, they were about 15% of students. Now we're looking at about 24% of students.
Wow. When we talk about summer schedules, I know for some folks that have littles and they've got to get them in those camps and, they're going all day long. Really what's ideal? I'm sure it depends family to family, but what do we need to keep in mind for the summer as far as schedules and making sure maybe we don't get too far off schedule, but giving our kids a little bit of flexibility?
Yeah, I think I equate it to sort of semi-soft cheese. So we're going to do semi-soft scheduling to the greatest degree possible. So I think having no schedule obviously is not an ideal situation. Creates some anxiety in kids because those boundaries are not present. But really rigid scheduling also cannot provide the kind of downtime that we need. So I understand, parents in the summer, I think we oftentimes have this image of, summer being long and lazy. And from a working parent's perspective, summer's harder than the rest of the year in lots of ways. So I think trying to make those structured programs, looking at those programs and seeing, is there downtime or some flexibility allowed in that daily schedule? Trying to build in some of that kind of downtime when kids come home, being able to, go outside and engage in things that, that they enjoy that are maybe not as highly scheduled. I think we're trying to balance all of that out. But it's complicated.
It is complicated. And I know, I've talked to a number of parents that are cobbling together, their schedule between grandma and grandpa and neighbors and camps, and so I guess, how do we provide some consistent quality experiences for our kids over the summer without stressing ourselves out?
Well, I think having a discussion with kids, particularly if they're of an age, to talk about, well, what are their goals? What would you like to do? Here's some of the realities, or kind of the broad picture of the summer. So what would you prefer? Camps, for older, I have an older child right now. We're talking about jobs versus volunteering. Volunteering is a great way for students to explore different interests that they have. But having those conversations about here are some of the boundaries that we have, but here are some choices. Choice is a really powerful tool when we talk about, helping kids and families prioritize, okay, what would make sense, what would be interesting and give you a wonderful summer, but also meet the needs of our family as we're trying to juggle all of our different responsibilities.
Any other tips you would give for parents as they go through the summer to make sure that they're refreshed and ready then when school starts in the fall?
I think look at this as a learning opportunity. And again, learning happens everywhere. I'll tell you just a couple of really pivotal stories. I got into my career as a special educator because I had a really, really astute mother who said, oh, you're interested in kids with autism? Why don't you go volunteer here? And the rest of the story was written. So you never know when you have those really pivotal opportunities that you can actually shape as a parent that changes the course of your child's life. That was a little decision, but it's had lifelong impacts.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
That is Stephanie Mahfood. She is the Dean of Webster University School of Education, joining us this morning here on KMOX. Coming up, we're going to talk about one of the major frustrations in modern life, and that's your cell phone battery. There are actually some new technologies being developed. We're going to talk with CNET about that coming up.
It's Tom Ackerman for McKelvey Homes. I've known the president of McKelvey Homes, Jim Brennan, for years, and McKelvey Homes gives back to the St. Louis community. They do this for every home that they sell. $18.98, the year they were founded, $1,898 goes to a nonprofit every time they sell a home. McKelvey's known for quality and for taking care of you every step of the way. And for Jim, quality means experience and choice. You make the calls. They'll build a home that you'll love. Strawberry Farms, open in O'Fallon, east of Highway K on Mexico Road. You're going to love Strawberry Farms. Live with walking trails, a lake, wooded lots, a playground. The display is now open at Strawberry Farms. Stop by for a tour. Ask about great spring incentives and how to get up to $48,000 in savings. McKelveyHomes.com. Move up to McKelvey.
Don't miss the final home game of the season. Your St. Louis Battlehawks take on the Dallas Renegades Friday, May 29th at 7 p.m. at the Dome. It's Battlehawks Kids Day. Plus, fans can score an Archie bobblehead while supplies last. Tickets start at just $18 at UFLBattlehawks.com. Caw-caw.
St. Louis, are you ready to go Hardy?
I woke up on the wrong side of the truck bed.
The country rock hitmaker behind Truck Bed. Wait in the truck and one beer. He's bringing his No Holds Barred live show to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater June 5th. With special guests Cameron Whitcomb and McCoy Moore. Hardy, live, loud, and unapologetic. One night only. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
You may have charged your cell phone overnight, and you may need to charge it again later today. Smartphone battery life is a common aggravation in modern life. I spoke with CNET's senior mobile expert, Abrar Al-Hidi, who's been taking a look at current technology and the batteries of the future. I'm probably one of those people that gripe about my battery life on my cell phone. How common is it for people to get frustrated about battery life?
It is actually incredibly common. We ran a survey recently that found that 58% of smartphone owners are frustrated with their phone's battery life. And I don't think it's very surprising. I think a lot of us have gotten used to the fact that at the end of every day, we have to recharge our phone, sometimes in the middle of the day. And if you've had your phone for more than a couple of years, then you really start to feel that strain. And that can really be kind of a burden, especially if you spent so much money on a phone and you want it to last a little bit longer.
Well, and I think that's a reason why a lot of times people do upgrade as they look at it and they say, oh, this one they're telling me has better battery life. And then you get it and you feel like that really doesn't last very long.
It's a great point because the reality is no matter how much you spend on your phone or how new your phone is, the current lithium ion batteries in our phones are only designed to last for about a day to a day and a half. And so what that means is there needs to be that next generation of battery technology, and that is silicon carbon batteries. And essentially what that does is it replaces the graphite in your battery with silicon carbon. So that can hold a little bit more of that energy, make your phone last a little bit longer. The catch is we don't have a lot of phones with that technology yet. There's a lot of phones in China that have that. In the US, we're still waiting on that. Your iPhone doesn't have that yet. Your Samsung phone doesn't have that yet. But hopefully we get to a point where in the next couple of years where more phones adopt this technology. So hopefully you can go a couple of days without charging, potentially at least more than a day.
Is it the fact that batteries, aren't as good, or is it the fact that our phones now do so much? I mean, it's basically a computer in our pocket.
It really is. I mean, I think that's the perfect way to describe it. And I don't know if we give our phones enough recognition for how much strain is being put on them every day. And so it's kind of a combination. The reality is we use our phones for a lot of things. I mean, think about how often you're snapping pictures or using your GPS or scrolling endlessly through Instagram. But then on the other side of it, there hasn't been a big battery revolution in decades. And so this next chapter, these silicon carbon batteries, will be that next thing that hopefully allows us to stretch battery life a little bit further. Because the reality is, I mean, we're just getting more features on our phones. We're getting more things like AI capabilities that can really gobble up battery life. And so it's time for there to be the next big change.
Do you think this is going to hold back sales of smartphones until this comes to the United States?
At the end of the day, you're always going to need a phone, and you're always, when it's time to upgrade, you're going to upgrade. You're going to buy that iPhone. You're going to buy that Samsung phone, no matter what. And so it's probably not going to slow down phone sales. I think people have kind of accepted that, hey, your battery is okay. It can last long enough, but I think people will be really excited when they hear about a phone that can last a lot longer because, again, it's battery life is that big thing that everybody's chasing and is willing to spend a good amount of money on.
Now, when it comes to comparing these two technologies, lithium and the sodium ion, is there a cost difference in developing those?
So the big next battery technology is silicon carbon. Sodium ion, those batteries are cheaper to produce, but they're not quite commercialized yet. Silicon carbon will be that next thing. And the biggest hurdle is scaling manufacturing. So the current lithium ion batteries in our phones, they're cheap to produce because they've been produced for decades at this point. Silicon carbon is still scaling. There aren't a lot of factories that can produce those batteries just yet. And so as that, expands, as more factories open up, as that technology becomes more ubiquitous, then yes, hopefully that cost will go down and hopefully you won't feel that difference as a consumer when you're buying a phone with that battery technology.
It's a lot to keep in mind. And I think, too, there's a lot of confusion over really what is the best way to recharge our batteries. You used to think, oh, you let it drain all the way down and then you charged it all the way back up. And then, as you mentioned, there's some of us that just slap it on the charger, whenever we look like it's going down a little bit. What really extends the battery life?
Well, the best thing is to not overcharge your phone. So if your battery is at 70%, for example, and you're not going anywhere, you're hanging out at home, don't worry about recharging your phone. You'll be fine. Let it drain a little bit more and then charge it up, because each time you recharge your phone, you're essentially wearing down the battery, surely, over time. It has a limited number of recharge cycles. So you're kind of eating into that. It's not something to stress about too much, but I think, make sure you're waiting until your battery is a little bit more drained before you recharge it. But another really good tip is to set your phone's charging limit to 80% instead of 100%, because what happens is in a lot of today's batteries, more heat and stress can build up during that final 20% of charging, and heat and stress are your battery's biggest enemies here. So limiting that charge to 80% can be a really good idea, unless you're going somewhere, you're going out all day and you want to make sure you have 100% charge, and totally fine to go ahead and fully recharge it there. But the other thing to keep in mind is just avoid high temperatures. So If you're out on the beach and you've got your phone next to you in the sun, don't do that. Don't keep it out in the sun. Don't keep it in your hot car. And keep an eye out for any cheap chargers that might heat up your phone too. That can be a danger too.
That is CNET senior mobile expert Abrar Al-Hidi speaking on the Quiver River Electric Gas Line.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by University of Maryland Global Campus.
A theory prompting further research may explain